Yeah, so just to say that on our agenda for the meeting today, the GM, you can pull it up, or maybe the CFO, you can pull it up so that everyone can see what we have on our agenda. This is actually our first meeting that we will be looking at the situation that we have in our hands as board members, and then maybe from your input, it's going to help us navigate the challenges that we have found on the ground. And I think that your inputs at this moment will be really, really valuable, and you help us position ourselves in a market that we have seen that we have a potential. Yeah, we have a potential in most of our services because I've seen the demands in the market just as I arrived. So many people craving for it, but there's a whole lot as far as awareness is concerned. Yeah, because the people still need to um, like still be motivated to actually buy the services that we offer. Yeah, but they are so much interested in it, and we are kind of also struggling between pricing and their demands. Yeah, so but that's something that I think that we can see how we can navigate through that when we collectively put our ideas together, see how we can advance from here. So GMY, you doing that? Um, Let me welcome again everyone. Feel free to maybe share whatever ideas that probably come that pops up in your head that can go a long way in actually fixing one area in which we are struggling with. So it was rather unfortunate that I reached Cameroon with all the plans that I had, and I started getting a kind of like negative energy and all this kind of stuff due to what happened to me at the airport. And the kind of way that I was thinking that maybe I would get into Tecnovice, they kind of like change the whole scenario. But that didn't stop me. I'm here, and I was warmly welcomed by the entire staff of Tecnovice, which we shared the video. Yeah, so basically on our list today, on our agenda today, we will begin shortly with a brief word of prayer. Then we've already gone past the level, if I'm not mistaken, we've gone past self-introduction. Have we? No, I've introduced almost everyone in the team, but probably we could just have maybe like let's say 5 or 10 seconds, maybe introduction. So we hear your voice and just to make sure that we know who has cough or cold at this moment. Okay, uh, then we will also I think the welcome speech, I've already gone more into that. Maybe we'll just move further to details and then look at also a brief overview of the company running, which we'll get that from the GM. And then we'll be hearing also from the finance controller, which is actually missing on the agenda. So he will come immediately after the GM. And then I think from there, we'll be able to discuss more details. Um, so the GM will be closely um, followed by by CFO, and then from there we could also hear from the marketing team if there's any issue maybe on the ground that he wants to maybe add, and then we will leave the ground open for anyone maybe to like share in whatsoever um, thing that they have actually gathered in the process of the meeting. Then um, we could go ahead to discuss also other matters and also yeah, maybe closing it, or maybe yeah, closing it maybe when we must have already discussed almost everything that we have on the agenda. So we'll be moving forward to just I can say just a self introduction, 5 seconds, just anything interesting that you think that will make the see that will make the GM and Mr. Lune get to know you, because I think from us on the other side, we have been discussing, so we know ourselves a little bit. So we just want to hear um, from the GM and Mr. Lune, and so we just do that brief introduction, maybe starting from um, myself. I'm Stanley. So yeah, I'm with you guys, so you know me already. So let's move on to the next person. Thank you.
Um, I am Sibe Edwin, GM of Tecnovice. I live in Cameroon.
Next to you, I think Mr. Wesley.
Okay, everybody. I'm just so happy to see us. My name is Wesley. I'm based in Dubai, particularly. I work as a purchaser in one ship repair company where I get most of my insight about how company runs. However, I'm a finance person. I have an MBA in banking and finance and a bachelor degree in the University of Boya. So I will be your accountant for Tecnovice for as long as God give me the power to serve. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And Mr. Rulan is always smiling.
No, I was enjoying the accountant. All right, I'm Roland. You must have most of you have maybe seen me on the partner group with Dr. Chonga Clinic. I live in Germany and I am an operations manager in the logistic field. And yes, I strongly believe in this vision here. I strongly believe in the potential which I gathered here, and I strongly believe in how our hard times should shape us for the better. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you so much. I think for Mr. Lanier, I hope everyone got muted. Um Sorry, I'm not sure what could be the reason. Is it internet or what?
No, no, for we are expecting to listen to Mr. Lionel, so
Okay,
that's why we mute our mic.
okay. Yeah, I was just surprised because everything just kind of like went off all together at once. Let's see. Okay, while hello.
Yes,
Yes, I
sir.
can get you.
Okay. So I am Nembo Lionel, the head of marketing. Yeah, I think a background in economics and marketing. That's in terms of academics. We're trying to see how we can push things over here to share and push a vision of Tecnovice to the clients. So basically, that's what I represent in Tecnovice.
Thank you so much, Serenia, for that brief introduction. Mr. Leke,
Hi everyone. Uh, I am
Hi.
so yeah. My name is Leke. I'm based in the states. Um, yeah, and I'm just here. I'm here to listen and from there try to give my own inputs and insights and see how we can figure these things out and move forward as we go. I just want to say good job everybody so far. So yeah.
sure. Thank you.
Yeah, hi everyone. Nice to meet you guys. I am Che, so Blanchard. So I live in Boya and I work in the engineering team of Tecnovice. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is
Hi.
Baldwin Acha Baldwin. I just wanted to say I really appreciate everyone being here today and to give a thumbs up to the members of Tecnovice because I've been there on several occasions and the daily struggles and I see the effort of the team, which is absolutely you know perfect. And I will encourage the team that they keep up with the good work and the hard work, and I know that the company is going to go further. So, not to say much, I'm waiting forward to the presentation. Thank you very much.
So anything else on people? Let's try and people learn how to divide or to actually look out the like head of the in the position of the CFO for technology. We are yet to have also a lot of members support us in areas where we are not to. So hopefully sharing including some of the um, decisions that we have with any member of our team as part of the board management to go that we are doing manage that thing we trying to develop and so at this point we learning from GM. Yeah. Oh,
Thank
Sorry,
you,
I think
CEO.
you
sorry,
miss out.
Mr. Edwin.
Yeah, yeah, I think you miss out
Um,
if I'm the prayer point. So the prayer that we had at the beginning. So I don't know if
all right.
you guys already
Okay.
started on that or not.
We're warming up while waiting for you guys to join us.
Oh, I see. Okay, if that is the case, then I will want to um, call on someone to take us to the this following prayer apology. And permit me, Mr. Roland, to take us through. I would really appreciate.
Wow. All right. And no, that will be an honor. Please, Mr. Stanley, before we start, I just wanted to add a little statement. I know we have a lot of subjects to talk on today, and please, can we keep it as compact as possible? Because I think on my side, yes, although that might not be possible. If that's not possible, that's fine. I'd like to go through all these before I leave because I don't have a lot of time. So if you could keep it as compact as possible, that would be beautiful. I believe for most of us. Yes. All right. Then with the prayers, all right, then okay. Father Lord God, we thank you for uniting us here today. We thank you for the work which you place in front of us. We thank you for the gift at the base which you given to us as entrepreneurs, as financiers, as skilled workers in this field. We thank you for the passion, for the vision, for the people whom we want to serve. We pray for the guidance, for the wisdom, for the strategy. We pray for the resources. We pray for the tenacity to go through the storms. We pray for the inspiration, for the collaboration, for the love. We pray for all that which we should look at, which we haven't much considered. We ask all this through Christ our Lord. Amen.
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 Amen. Thank you so much, Mr. Roland, for that wonderful prayer. So I wish you say one more time, greetings to everyone here on board. It's a privilege to meet with great minds like you, especially for the first time in this wonderful meeting. As you can see, I just have some brief PowerPoint slides to just present to all the overview of Tecnovice Technology Limited. So on this occasion of the board meeting, we have Tecnovice Technology, first of it bite, presentation by the General Manager, Mr. Musibe Edwin. So the general overview, we are going to be looking at the state of the company. The state of the company, we are going to be talking about the formal company registration, which I will just go very briefly if you are buying time. Okay, actually, the Tecnovice Technology for the behind wall, let's say the setting up of the office, registration, everything was done before the commencement of the company. So the little things that were done behind, that is from the month of January, the whole month of January to the 28th, for work to properly commence, the setting up of the office and all the little setups, accessories that were put in place, especially the office chair, the office table. I think the privilege at that early stage to have Mr. Aberdeen on board. Both of us were setting up the office to the beautiful state it is now. So the company kicked off well on the 28th of February 2024 and it commenced with a total of about 12 workers. We have the accountants, Betty, Rollins, the engineer, Michana, graphics, Agile UI UX, Daniel, engineer, Ibai, engineer, Salome, marketer, FOC, under the marketing department, Emil, digital marketer, presently Lisa, then Mr. Blanco was also there at the beginning. So currently, Michana was released. Mr. Bless came in to take her place. Aja traveled out to Dubai. Mr. Emmanuel replaced her for UI UX. A new digital marketer recently was replaced by, by a soon coming worker that has been Bridget. And then we have Lisa, another engineer that was added to the team. Mr. Ibai recently traveled to India. So presently, we have a team of Miss Betty Rollins, Mr. Bless, Mr. Emmanuel, Daniel, Mr. Lionel, Miss Bridget Titukam, Miss Lisa, and Mr. Blanco. So that is a total number of workers that are present now at Tecnovice Technology. That's under the number of staff employed. And then under the general equipment that we bought, I will just name a few. There's so many. We have the office chairs, tables, we have office accessories, we have the computers that we have, the workstations, the MacBook Pro, just to name a few. Every accessory that needed to set up the office at that beginning stage, all of them were bought. So the company started with a very strong force. I must say, continuation under the general overview, we have the performance of the company. Basically on financial performance, which um, the
Sorry,
CFO is here will give us.
GM, sorry to cut you. Just in case if you are sharing your slides, you make sure that you change it so that we can see.
Okay, I just changed. I am surprised that let me see. You go behind.
Okay.
Are we there?
Yeah.
Okay. See on general overview, I talk about the performance of the company. Based on financial performance, I think the detail is going to be given to us for the CFO, but I'm going to take a few things on that. Actually, at that beginning stage of the company, it was obviously studious. We had a little bit of challenges linked to knowing technology, being a technological company, and looking at Cameroon, if you see far backward as far as technology is concerned. So there was really that time for people to maybe catch up with some of our services. So most of the time we're more of informing the general public of our services and trying to get them know who we are and the various services that we offer. So that was what was happening from the beginning of the month of March, April. So basically some majority of expenses came in basically on setting up the office, equipment that were bought. Most of the majority of the expenses came through that direction. Time to time I went to collect things from Joe Cargo sent by the CEO. Basically that's how expensive were incurred in the company. So basically just little or few amount of finances came in since we were still starting. And then employee performances too at the beginning too was not actually very efficient and effective since majority of them were still getting acquainted to work in an office setting like this. So most of the time series of trainings were being carried out especially to empower the workers to become professionals as far as according to movies goals and vision is concerned. So we had a series of challenge of workers getting to catch up with our tasks, especially some who came into graphic designing, for example, were still novice. So a lot of most of the time, since I double in graphic designing, I had to leave to teach so I can get the workers maybe in good shape. So we also had a lot of trainings that were going on professionalism, especially in our Monday meeting with the CEO to help empower the employees to actually improve on their performances. Like I always say, sometimes it's not easy for some people to adapt to changes. So the workers that started with us some actually did their best, sacrificing their time because at that beginning stage, some of them were not actually paid, some of them were still under trial periods, and so they did what they could do. So, however, some workers actually left us for this period of time that we have existed as a company. We had the channel, she could no longer be with us since we had to employ someone that was more efficient and professional. That was Mr. Bless. Therefore, Aja, she traveled to Dubai and she was replaced by Mr. Emmanuel for the engineers. The Mr. Ebai presently now are traveled to India and we have Mr. Emil who has been fired as a result of malpractice, malconduct and lack of professionalism at the job site. So in terms of material performances, so far the materials that we bought, I can say that they have been well managed. We have our materials intact, except for some certain unforeseen circumstances. But one of our MacBook Pro got bad, and one of the station, the workstation laptop also got bad. That was sent back to the CEO. So presently everything has been running smoothly. So as far as performances of the company is concerned, on general evaluation, I can say we have been making progress from start till now. Now, concerning SWOT analysis for Tecnovice technology, looking at our strengths, one of the things I can say here is that just the fact that Tecnovice offer multifaceted and technological tools, it already places us on data scale to expand and to experience this view. Because looking at Cameroon as an emerging nation as far as technology is concerned, so far, we are seeing the interest of many students towards technology, the people as a whole. And so far, we have realized that many of our services that maybe had some difficulties in the beginning are actually making gaining grounds among the individuals. I would say, for example, we have almost about 12 interns. That means on the practical aspect of what we offer here in Tecnovice, as far as technology is concerned, on web development, mobile app application, cyber security, just to name a few. So our strength as far as technology is concerned has been on a very high scale. We also see our strength also in some of the services that we offer. For example, like the POS system, we realize that here in Cameroon it is actually scarce to see maybe shops open operating using the POS system. Just very few. And so we believe that with proper marketing and over time, we will have a large market as far as our POS software are concerned. Now, looking at our major project which is coming up, which is the Dimple Stay, it is for sure that it's a very vital project that will hit the market because many people are suffering with cash these days. Many people are suffering, especially on carry out online transactions. And I believe that with the Dimple Stay, we are going to hit the market on greater scale. So without further ado, looking at our weakness, we have some few challenges maybe on some of our softwares. I think that's why we requested the CEO to be around because we could not go to explain some of our softwares, especially when some of us don't understand how they operate. And there were some little fault in the software that needed to be corrected. So that's one of our major weaknesses that we have, which I believe that the CEO is currently working on that to handle that. And basically challenges of people getting acquainted also to technology is also a weakness. Many people are used to the traditional method. And with the coming of technology for them to get into software, yeah, it's taking a lot of time. However, we have had a lot of people that have entered into our office. They even love the services that we offer. They even want to engage. But when it comes to the monetary part, they slack behind. They are still taking their time. So looking at opportunities, however, we have so much or so many opportunities at the novice. The opportunities, like if we look at them, tech is fast advancing in Cameroon. So it really gives us a platform for greater investment as far as technology is concerned. And then we look at students are more tired of the normal traditional method of learning where you have to deal with notes. They want to be very practical as far as engineering or software is concerned. And this plays all on a data advantage because the majority of our services are more of a practical approach. And this really explains when we have the little the events at UB, University of Boya for the College of Technology on their technology day. We had a lot of students interested of our services, and we could see it presently in the reflection of the 12 students that we have for internship, and there are others that are still coming on the way onto the office upstairs is even getting smaller. When we look at them, hospitals and hotels, they are also suffering from also management issue, and we believe in one of our softwares we can be able to handle some of these challenges. So in the places and greater opportunity to hit the market as far as technology is concerned. When you look at Boya in particular, among the three tech hubs in Cameroon, they are happen to be one of the zones interested so much in technology. We have either Douala and Yaoundé. So it makes it a better source to invest as far as technology is concerned. Now, looking at the threat, very famous threat we all know our competitors. I can say, is a transition zone with so many schools around. So we also have other tech guru who are also coming out with certain things, certain services that we also do offer. We also have challenges of also workers, threat of workers also, workers behavior, maybe and also like I said, improper functioning of some softwares, and then also have the issue of political instability. You know, it also makes some level of volatile atmosphere as far as investment concerned, which is still the reason why we could now have working days on Monday because of the normal ghost town and coach. We also talk about the pricing of our softwares like the black market. You know, we are being a tech hub environment, so we have other people that will just do softwares for very low cost, which might make it difficult for us or for clients to work with us as a company. The moment they hear that it's a company, some of them feel threatened because they are afraid of the price that we might give them. So small guys around can go and run from this place and make it difficult when we give prices for our clients to actually pay. So however, we also have future output as far as the novice is concerned, which we can see in our products. Boy, connection not cease. Sorry for that. little interruption. My mic had a problem, so I'm using both my phone and the laptop to present. Okay, we are good to go. So futuristically, we are envisaging our products, the POS software, to greatly. Are we all seeing my slide? Sorry.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Good.
Using the POS system to make good waves. Like I said, it's something that is scarce here in Cameroon, and we believe that with proper marketing of our POS software in the nearest months and future to come, we are going to make greater yield. I didn't put our one of our measures, a project which is a team cooker, because we are already on it, and we are also looking forward that if we make successful investment as far as the Dimples Pay is concerned, with the virtual card that you has, we can hit a large market. And like the CEO said, it is one of the major product of Tecnovice. And so we believe that if proper marketing is done from only the interest that people are already interested to start using it, if everything being equal, it can be one of our major hits if we properly invest in it in a greater way. Another thing that we're also seeing uprising is a boot camp. Our boot camp, which is something that is very promising. Looking from the start of Tecnovice, we are almost 5 months, getting to 6 months now. If you notice that, although we have not yet broken even as far as financial performances is concerned, you realize that there have been a progressive growth increase, if not in a very slow rate as far as our finances are concerned. And if you, from the chart that I saw from the financial controller, we realize that in the month of June, we had the lowest a financial drop of performance in the month of June. And that was because that month of June was a month that majority of the workers they fell sick. People some people were on permission, and then we did more of marketing on the month of June. So the result of June is reflected in the month of July, because that was a transition period that we had, that we introduced the boot camp. And we realized that after the event we had at the University of Boya and the award prize we offered at Charo Hotel for their technology day, we realized that we had an increment of almost, like I said, 12 students currently. And that brought us almost an income amounting almost on 500,000 and above. So we see that the month of July, we had a very high rate of increase financially for the company, which we see that is a very pregnant opportunity for us to invest, especially in arranging the office upstairs in an excellent way for our boot camp. Because we have a lot of students, even people that want to improve on their skill technologically, who are always coming around complaining they want a practical approach to technology. And we are already seeing that if we can offer those services, which we have already commenced with them, in the nearest future, it will also give great yield to the company. So, because one of the curriculum that we have, especially our area of focus, which we have seen as a problem, is that practical approach to technology, which, and I discussed with the CEO, we actually have a plan of action on that area. Meanwhile, we're looking at other networking As a manager, I am really looking forward to meet with the Ministry of Post and Telecommunication, the Ministry of Vocational Training and Employment, and the Ministry of Scientific Research and Innovations. I want to ensure that I make those networking so that it can give us a greater ground for us to advertise our services we offer here in technology, and also in collaboration with the state to also announce the company beyond the scope it is now. So I would like to thank us so much for the time. At this level, I would like to end here so far with respect to the general overview of the company.
Thank you so much, GM, for that expose. Yeah, just to say that, just to add more highlights to our Dimple Spray, which we've seen a lot of people who are kind of like interested in it. I think so far, as we are in the testing phase, we've been able to see revenue generated on the platform that is um, close to about I think 100,000 just within the testing phase, which we are just testing internally. And we have seen people who are kind of like interested in using it and have been able to pass money through that system. So I think that they are waiting for us to actually bring it to life. It was rather unfortunate for us that the machine that I brought to test, like to completely test the system before actually releasing it out to the public, that machine was stolen in my hand luggage at arrival at the airport. So because of that, I have to order a new one, which will probably get to Cameroon maybe later this month, so that we can complete the testing phase and then start releasing that device in the hands of Cameroonians. So just to say that that is one of the products that I've seen that will actually announce us and take us go places in Cameroon. So I think maybe at this point in time we'll just probably um, rush over to the next agenda, which I will want the CFO to take over from this moment.
Thank you so much, GM, and thank you so much, the CEO, for giving me this opportunity to share with us. So, everybody, I am just so happy with the presentation that the GM has made so far. I did not have most of this knowledge, and it's very good that he had this.
Can you please get in more volume, Mr. Wesley? Can you get in more volume? Your mic is a bit low.
Sorry, you're getting me?
Yes, now better. Now better.
Yeah, so I'm sorry about that. I'm saying that thank you so much. Thank you so much. I am audible enough, and then I will continue. Uh, GM, you mute yourself so
GM,
that
can you mute this? Mute the phone.
Pardon?
Mute the phone.
And they are giga too.
you
Mute the
can
phone.
mute yourself.
Mute the
Okay.
phone. The phone.
Okay, good. Thank you so much. Thank you for that. So everybody, I will go straight to the point to present to us our financial statement. For the most part, we start from the month of November because we start receiving money regarding the vision of Tecnovice in the month of November, where people put in their hard-earned cash to kickstart the project. So I will go directly to share my screen, particularly on the Excel format, because in the long run, while the presentation is going on, I will need some input for the marketer and the GM to do some of the scenario analysis. So while I share my screen, please confirm with me if you can view my screen so that I can just go forward and then I start presenting. So right now I'll be sharing my screen. Are you for viewing my screen?
Yeah.
So if you are viewing my screen, then I will just say thank you so much. Now, this is Tecnovice actually started in 2023, as you have seen here. Most importantly, this is an income statement for the period November 2023 to 31st of December 2024, which we are not there yet. So for the most part, I'll present for the months that have passed. That means from November to the month of July, which we have on our screen right away. So this is a income statement. Income statement is dealing with the revenue as compared to the expenses. That means operational revenue as compared to operational expenses. Now for the operational expenses, we have cost of goods sold. Cost of goods sold, also known as direct cost. Cost of goods sold is also known as direct cost. This is what I'm talking about. It's also known as direct cost. So whether we are accountants or not, let's keep in mind it's known as direct cost. Direct material, direct labor, direct expenses. And then operational expenses is also known as indirect cost. So I'm trying to give us the other meaning of this particular statement or this particular value so that we will know what we are talking about when I start interpreting. For the most part, it's not just to present, but to interpret what have been going on. So in the month of November 2023, we had no revenue. Yani, we just started and some money were being spent and all. So the money was being spent mostly for the fixed asset. Yani, to buy some fixed asset on ground. So we had no direct cost, no direct expenses, certainly no revenue. So we have a nil. If you look at the column C here, you have the nil. So there was nothing on that month as far as profit and loss is concerned. So there was no revenue, certainly there was no expenses. And then now you go to the month of December, which is this one. You go to the month of December 2023. Here we have no revenue also. And then you go to the direct cost, certainly no direct cost, that is zero there. You go to indirect costs. Certainly, we started incurring some indirect costs, and mostly the indirect costs came because we had to rent the building, probably office number one, which were the GM and the marketer inside. So we rented that building. We paid a deposit for 1.5 million, 1.5 million and 7,000. So that was already the first indirect cost that we started incurring in Tecnovice. Of course, as we know, when you are incurring costs without any revenue, is a loss. So we started incurring our first 1.5 million loss in Tecnovice. As it is with a company, that is always the case because you must start by sacrificing. We call it skin in the game. So that is that for the month of December and the month of November for last year, 2023. So move forward to 2024, which we are now. We have the month of January. January, we're still doing underground contribution. Certainly, there was no revenue because the novice have not yet been registered. And then going to the indirect cost also, we had to book another payment for rent. That is the second office, which is the office at the top building or at the next floor on top. And then we had some consumables like office supplies for whosoever were there, like the GM running to the site, as he said before, he would go to Douala and get one or two things. So he spent based on office consumables 73,100. So adding to the two rents that we have paid for the first and the second office, plus this other indirect cost, we had accumulation of 2,080,100. That was a loss also because there was no revenue. So when you have zero revenue and then you have total expenses, everything is a loss. So that is that for the month of January. So the month of February, the same thing. The company now, we're trying to set up the company, like employing one or two people. And then for the most part, the GM now came into play, the marketer and some of those people that joined us, which they left later because there was no payment for them. So the month of February, which is this column here, the next second column, please, as I scroll down, we had, of course, our rent of the office still move forward. And then the rent of the second office, 500,000. Now we started having some other additional costs. Yani, you have here the agent fee. Sometimes we'll go to Douala, you need someone to show you something. You don't just do it by free or you don't speak in tongues, but you have to give them money for disposal or whatever. People are very rich this day. So we are spending that for agent fee. And then we have cash withdrawal and exchange rate expenses. Sometimes when we are doing transfer for money from Cameroon to from UAE to Cameroon, from Spain to Cameroon, from US to Cameroon, or from Italy, wherever some of our board members are, you are spending some of the expenses. This cash withdrawal. Sometimes always only to withdraw the money from the Momo to cash or to transfer to one person to the other, you incur charges. So that month of February, we incur charges of 1,000. And then we have some internet and telephone charges, 10,000, amounted to 10,000. Miscellaneous expenses, these are some small bills, like you can say printing of 1 or 2 things. You have 3,000 for miscellaneous expenses. Office consumables had to go up because then people are in the office, they need some probably refreshment, some other things to keep them comfortable. Then we had here the refreshment, we had here transportation expenses. The GM will be going from back and forth to Douala, go to other places to get what we need. And then that month of February, only the accountant, because as it is, accounting is a language of business. We need a standby somebody that will sit in the office, whether there's profit or no profit. So the accountant was there, and for the most part, we had to motivate her because she was paying transport all the way from her place to the company. So we had to pay her at that amount of 39,000, which was not her actual salary, but we had to compensate her for that month. So we gave her that 39,000. So all the costs that we were incurring, then wage here stands for the money that we are paying for non-Tecnovice workers, like those quick jobs, like some things that people have to come and put, like the glass work. All those people, we have to pay them connection of whatever we have there. They will come and connect. So we pay them wage, not salary. Salary are for our employees. So all these costs that we incurred in the month of February, which we did not generate any revenue, it's going to our loss because we did not have any revenue. So accumulation from November right up to February, we had accumulation loss of 2.2 million, 77,600. So same applies to the rest of all the. So move forward to the month of March, where we start to have our first revenue. The first revenue actually came from one lead from the CEO here in the country, United Arab Emirates, which we did some job for them. And this job, we did not incur any direct costs. We did not incur any direct cost. So you can look at this place, cost of service rendered or cost of goods sold, there was zero. So we had a cumulative gross profit of the total amount. However, if we're doing the street business, just like the GM rightly mentioned, most people want to do business, but when they see that we are company, they are afraid because they know we charge them high. If we're doing the street business, this one would have been our profit for Tecnovice. However, we had indirect costs, that is costs for the workers that are working there that are not directly for the job, like the administrative costs, for the marketer, for the accountant, not the engineer, probably the GM, also electricity bill, water bills, and rent. So we had a total cost of 3.5 million in relation to the revenue we generated 165,000. So if you compare revenue for 165,000 to 3.5 million, 46,371 costs, you have a net loss for that month of March of 3.3 million, 81,371. So far we have been having the loss like that due to the reason that we are just newly started in the industry. So why I'm reducing the month so that we get it so closer to our recording here, like the names of the values. This is a month of March, which you just finished explain. Now the month of April. Now revenue increased. Now there was an increase in revenue from 165,000 to 681,000. So the increase was 312% increase. So based on March, we had just 165,000. So the revenue increased from 165 to 681. So there was a 3.12% increase, which is a plus for a startup like Tecnovice. Then we started incurring some direct costs. So the direct costs now came particularly for cost of goods, particularly for the most part, the good that we purchased to do the installation, mostly the CCTV cameras, which was the case in the early revenue generation from Cameroon. And then we have the cost of service, like the engineers, the 1 or 2 expenses that they incur to get the job done. Probably they will pay some technicians on ground. That means whatever transport they spend for that job, then that's a cost of service. Any other transportation for general workers like accountant, GM, and all, it goes under indirect costs because they're not directly on the job. So all the indirect costs started increasing. Now, for the most part, we see the agent fee, it stayed at the same level because we did not pay them. And then the cash withdrawal, same 2,000. Then the internet and telephone charges 1,000 increment. So it shows that they were not using more of the expenses. So we have the miscellaneous expenses jumped from 12,000 to 24,000. That means 100% increase. And then office consumables increased from 199,000 to 391,000. So all those other values started increasing as the workers are increasing also in the company. Now, the salary for the month of April, the salary for the month of April stood at, this is our salary for the workers. These are most of the highest expenditure we're spending in Tecnovice. The salary, instead of 39,000, it went up to 704,000. Now, you go to accrued salary. Accrued salary are salary for the engineers that we are not paying them in full. We have some workers that we have to pay them a certain amount, but for the fact that Tecnovice is a startup and then we have to have operational cash flow to run our day-to-day working capital of the business, we hold some of their salary back. So we have an accrued salary of 1.4 million. That means we are going to pay them in the future, certainly when Tecnovice will break even. So the same interpretation applies for all the months. And notably, we have been having increase of the expenses mostly for the salaries, which is one of the most expensive that Tecnovice is incurring. Like it's always 1 million plus moving forward from the month of March. And then we have office consumables. That means values that are increasing, like I highlighted here on the month of July. So you see here the month of July. Fast forward to the month of July, I highlighted some of the highest expenses that we're incurring. So if we look at the trend for the most part, the increase have been positive in that in the month of March, we had just 165,000 sales. In the month of April, we had it jumped to 681. In the month of May, this is what we are talking about the revenue. It jumped from 681 to 1.3 million, 37,500. Now, in the month of June, there was certainly no increase, insignificant increase. So from 1.3 to 1.4, that means a 100,000 increase, which a GM highlighted because we're trying to do some marketing, some real ground marketing. They went to the University of Boya, they went to Chariot Hotel, so they were doing more of marketing. The team were just out, and I think we have seen the pictures already. So he said the month of June gave birth to the month of July, which we had to have some smile based on the sacrifice we made in the month of June. So looking at the revenue trend, we had 312% increase from March to April. There was an increase of 312%. And then in the month of May, it did not increase as much as it did in April. In the month of May, we had just 96% increase, which is a plus. And then in the month of June, we had the lowest increase, 7 point something. In the month of July, we had the increase jump from 7 to something to 45% increase. Now, this is the highlight of the month of July. We want to be highlighting everything, then we can get the month of July close to our statement, then we see it clearly. Now, the month of July, this was the revenue we've had so far from November 2003 right up to July ending 2024. So far, Tecnovice generated a revenue of 2,092,400. Now, in this revenue, we had a direct cost to generate this revenue of 772,442. So direct cost pretty good because we had a cost of just less the amount compared to the revenue. We generated a revenue of 2 million, then direct cost so far 772,000. So it gave us a gross profit of 1.3 million. But because we are not running just a street business, we are running a company, so we will certainly have those overhead costs or indirect costs where we'll have the rent and other things. So because of that, we had an indirect cost of 8,797,066 francs. So comparing our gross profit or whatever revenue that we had, removing the direct cost with this indirect cost, so we'll have a loss in the month of July for 7.4 million 48,986. Now, looking at the figures, it shows that Tecnovice is running at a loss. However, there is a plus though. That is why we have to jump to the analysis. Now, I will take us to the vertical, horizontal, and trend analysis. Moving forward to the next, which is the analysis part. I don't know if we are following, but it's very helpful. I go fast so that we buy time, just as Mr. Roland have told us already.
Yeah, we are following.
Okay, thank you so much for that. So this is our trend analysis. Now, I will not be focusing mostly on the figures. We have already seen it as we know that there is a loss, but I kept it there so that we might want to still go through it and see the figures are still there. But for the most part, let's focus on the percentage growth. Now, looking at the total revenue, which is here in column 11, looking at the percentage growth, of course, the month that we did not have any revenue, there's nothing there. Beginning in the month of March, we had a normal 100%, that is a base. Now, Revenue grew to 312%. That is a good growth. Now, yani from 1 to 600, that's good. Then now in the month of May, there was still a plus in revenue, but it grew to what? 96%. That is good also. Almost grew 100% the one in the month of April. Now in the
So
month of June.
sorry. So someone should mute their phone or their device because there's noise in the background.
Okay, thank you so much. Please, I don't know, is everybody muted?
Yeah.
If that is the case, then I will go ahead. Thank you so much. So thank you so much, Mr. Leke, for that. I appreciate. So in the month of June, the growth rate for revenue was just 7.7%, insignificant, but though we are happy it was a growth though. So and then in the month of July, we had now a 45% growth rate. So a 45% compared to the amount of the month of July to that of the month of June to that of July, it was almost probably a million, but 45% only. So, but we are happy though. Now, what we do is we compare this to the indirect cost or to the direct cost. Now, to start with, to the direct cost. Now, direct cost, as we have seen already, we started incurring 298,000. That is a 100%. And then in the month of May, when the more May where workers came, and then we started having more costs to the job that we're doing, we had an increase of the cost, which is never a good sign. When cost is increasing, it's never a good sign. So there was an increase in the cost from 100 to 156. Never a good sign as always. So, but however, I think the GM and the marketer, they saw that, and then in the month of June, though they were having serious and intensified marketing, I don't know how they did it, but they did not incur much direct cost because certainly there was not revenue for that also. Because direct cost is when we have a project and we're working on it. So that the direct cost just dropped to 0.51%. And then in the month of July, the direct cost drop also. Compare that to that of the growth in the revenue, then that's a plus, I must say. So move forward to my concern is not the profit because that will not really give us what we are looking for. So I will hide that one. I can always unhide it back. So in the month of that's a gross income. So gross income till the month of July, we had 1.3 million 480, which is this one. And then looking at the trend for the gross income, from 100, it increased to 131%. So there is a 31% growth rate. Now it increased to 49%. It increased to 17%. It increased to 99%. So it shows that the gross income is growing faster than the direct cost. Now let's go to the indirect expenses. There was a 100% indirect expenses in the month of December where we pay for the rent. So since then, expenses have been dropping. So the next month, we started paying for the next rent. But however, it was not as growing faster as it is in the case of the revenue. So expenses was growing at a more declining rate. Yes, expenses must be there because we keep spending. As long as the company is running, we'll be spending. So, but it's growing at a declining rate to tell us that at one point we'll have to break even. So it's growing now from 100 to 39, 30, 38, sorry. Now from 38 to 9%. From 9%, which that 9% is in the month of February, I guess. Yes, February. So the 9% growth was in the month of February, where we did not really incur much expenses because the same rent that we paid for the first office and the second office remained the same throughout. So we're not going to pay that. So the revenue, the expenses grew just by 9%, maybe due to the accountant salary and some of the consumables. So when we had our full-time employees working with us, we started incurring now a growth again in the expenses. So indirect expenses grew from 9% to 50 6%. And then from there moving forward, it started declining, though growing, but in a declining manner from 41 to 30 to 17 and to 15, which is a plus. Hopefully, in the nearest future, it will be growing lesser and lesser and lesser. Why we're seeing that the revenue, which is up here, the revenue is growing in an increased rate, which is a plus also. So for the most part, as a company, this is something that we must be expecting. So looking at the profitability, yes, Tecnovice is currently running on a loss, but look at the way the loss is growing. In the month of November, the loss was 100% whatever cost we incurred. In the month of December, we had, in the month of January, we had a loss also, but growing at a declining rate, 38%. Now, in the month of January, or is it February? In the month of February, which is this one, we had a growth of 9%. In the month of March, here we have a growth of 49%. In the month of April, we had a growth of 37%. So it is growing, but at a declining level, to tell us that at one point it might even run to zero. Running to zero means we start to make profit. That means we break even, then we start to make profit. And looking at the way the trend is going, it shows that Tecnovice is heading to the right direction, depending on the data that we are having. These are our real data. So far, I think this information is very helpful for analysis, particularly for the GM and the marketer, to see how they can improve upon. So that is that for the horizontal analysis. Now we'll go to the vertical analysis. Now the vertical analysis, we are comparing the percentage of cost to the revenue generated. Now looking at the month of March, where we started generating revenue, direct cost was 0%. So every money that we generated, it will go to our gross profit. But as a company, we have indirect costs. So whatever expenses that we incurred, whatever expenses that we have incurred in the month of December, in the month of January, it's a 100% loss, of course, 100% loss because there was no revenue. In February, 100% loss, there was no revenue. March, okay, we just had 165,000. And then we look at now the percentage of the indirect expenses compared to the percentage of revenue that we generated. We generated 165,000, and then compare the percentage to the indirect expenses. There was a 2,149%. That means we generated 100%, then we incurred an expenses of 2,149%. That means 2,149% times the income we generated. So that was a very huge blow on us as a company, which is always expected for a startup like every company, every other company that we always operate. However, moving to the month of April, we started seeing a decline. First, the decline started with the direct cost. The decline started with the direct cost 49%. That means we generated 100% revenue. We incurred just 49% for direct costs, almost half the price. So we had just 56% for the share. If we're just running a street business, then that would be our profit. However, as a company, we had to incur another 600, and this one, we incur 700 for indirect expenses. We incur 735% expenses. So just to hide some of those that we have already treated so that we get our thing very smooth for us to see. Then we go to the month of April, which we just shared. We go to the month of May. Still, we had 1.3 million revenue compared to the indirect 1.3 million revenue. We had a direct cost of 57%. Out of that revenue, we had a 57% of direct cost. Not the best. That means half the price of what we generated is used for direct cost. And then for indirect cost, we had 486%. Now, as a startup, we will always have this huge cost because we are still trying to generate revenue. So please, we should not be so frightened with the figures, but for the most part, moving forward to the other analysis, we'll see that Tecnovice is really tried as a startup compared to the other startup in the industry. On an average, Tecnovice, I can say, is doing well. So going to the next month, which is the month of June, and then next month of June was not the best, as we all know, from 1.3 million to 1.4 million. That was just a small growth in terms of revenue. However, this is a vertical analysis, so we cannot see the changes here. But going forward to the cost, we generated that much, then we spend more, because when you are not generating money into the company, as long as the company is operating, you're spending. So of course, as long as the doors are open, we're spending. So we need to be generating as long as the company doors are open. Otherwise, we'll be declining, we'll be reducing the value of the Tecnovice. Instead of value increasing, will be the value reducing. So moving forward from the month of June to the month of July, we had another sales of 202,992,400. So the sales improved in the month of July. Vertical analysis, you will not really get that. But compare with the cost that we incurred to generate that 2 million, seen from the month of November right up to July, we had a cost of 37%. So out of 100%, we use 37% as direct material. It's a plus, it's good. Always less than 150 is good, so that the rest we can take for indirect costs. So indirect costs, we still had a very huge amount of expenses due to the salary, because salary for our workers is $1 million plus for every month. So salaries is always plenty, and then the rent that we already paid for the whole year and all. So we had a percentage compared to percentage of revenue for the indirect cost for 420%. So for that, we had a loss of 7.4 million, 48,986. So if you look at the trend of this growth of the profit is going at a declining trend. Yani we have here 43%, we have here 48%, yeah, it increased, and then it reduced again to 356%. So that is that for the vertical analysis to tell us that the company is doing the possible best as a startup, starting from zero profit, but from a very high amount of expenses. It shows that in no time company will break even. Hopefully, as we'll be doing scenario analysis very soon. So this one that we are going down, we are going to the trend analysis. Now, going by the trend analysis, I will want us to see how the company have been performing so far.
Sorry.
Yes, please.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt you, but can I just have like maybe a few minutes? Because very soon I'll be at work then, so that but you can continue after that. Is
Okay,
that okay?
please.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So yeah, so I can like so far, if like the presentation is brilliant. Like you can tell from the numbers and everything, the things are going, in my point of view, things are going well so far because there's a lot of investment that we've already done, and all those are expenses, fixed costs, and over time. The one thing we keep looking at that number in terms of what really brings the negative is the rent. But if you do it in a somewhat different way, like okay, if you average that rent in terms of 12 months, there are some months that we haven't even used. So that is a plus. So you see that money is gonna come down a little bit. Okay. So but what I want to emphasize on is those green numbers right there. That is what we're looking for. Like those green numbers right there, that is our goal. What did we do or what have we done so far to get us those green numbers? You know, from what I see here, it's cumulative every morning. Like, it's not like, oh, we have this, right? It's not like, oh, we have 600 for this month, we have one. No, we just keep adding the revenue, you keep accumulating. Like it's a cumulative total from like everything that we've been getting. It's not like for this month we have 680. That's what we made for May. We have 1.3. No, it's a cumulative, right? Is it cumulative? Correct. Okay.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah. So I think what we really should, which we guys are gonna get there, but I just want to So if we can focus on the growth, what is actually giving us those revenue, and how we want to improve in getting more of those. I think if we focus on that, and then also because the expenses are always going to be there, right? And then after that, the short-term goal over time is to see how our return, because there will come a time when our return for the month to focus on for the month is equal to our expenses for the month. So once we start seeing that, then we're improving. So one, first of all, is baby step. So if whatever, like if we are breaking even, let's say within a month, we see that, oh, okay, we did this, and then we get this amount of return, and then our expenses or our wages, everything, it balance out. That is a really huge improvement. And then for that to happen, we have to focus on those stuff that will give us that return. And I know by doing that, that's where the brain and the minds comes in, and the investment and all the financial aspect. So far, the company is doing well. You know, I don't know about other, but I agree with you so far. And you guys are doing an excellent job to like details and everything in terms of the finance, which is the backbone of every company. You want to know where the money is going in and out, where it's coming, and from there you can trace everything. With this, we can know how we want to move forward, and we can see what we want to change and things like that. The, those that's the basic. I don't know how I can explain it. I have a little graph right here. I don't know if you can see it, but I was just drawing something. Is this? Let me see. I'm not good at the heck. How do you turn this thing sideways?
Which
Anyway, but what I'm trying to say, like you said, the expenses is gonna go like this, right? And then it's gonna shoot up, and then it start going down over time till when it's gonna plateau. That's what we want for expenses. And then the return is gonna instead be plateauing from the beginning, and then be going up, and they want to see it go stiff and go up to a point where they're gonna meet, and that's where we're gonna break even over time. But that is our goal. So we're gonna have to start from that aspect of, like the GM was saying, the things that the people on the ground, they are the backbone. So the things that deep down knows that, hey, they are the one that are one-on-one see customers and they see people and the challenges that they have. That is what I think which is very, very important for them to speak and for us to address, because if we can solve those barriers and see how we want to break those barriers and try to get those customers for money to start coming in, that is going to be a plus. But that's all I can say for now. I will, since they're recording the video and everything, I will when I'm done, I'll have to like look at it again, and then maybe I can give some more input. But I just want to say I appreciate you guys. Thank you very much for having me here. And yeah, you can move forward from there. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Leke, for really highlighting that fact. For the most part, I am so glad that you really find it so smart to see that we get it there. Yeah, so without wasting most of the time, I will just say, okay, we have already given the best of what we can give for this analysis. So going forward to what Mr. Leke said, the average and all. So the reason as to why I had to use all the cumulative is because these are something that we have incurred for the company. So I don't want to keep it for the future. And even if we keep it for the future, it will still remain in our expenses. So moving forward to the forecast, which he was saying, I will want to say we move to the next session where the GM and the marketer will have to help us. So this is all about the projection where you will have the average of what Mr. Leke was saying. So I'm just so happy that he saw it before coming. So looking at the average of what we have been spending so far, like this is a forecast, the projection that we want to do now. So we have here all the main figures. These are the main figures that we are dealing with now. So to look at the average that we have generated so far on a monthly basis compared to what we are having, looking at the average, we would say based on the days that we started in generating revenue, we had 5 months. We started generating revenue in the month of March, April, May, June, and July. So you take this cumulative amount, which is for 5 months, you divide it by 5, you see that we have an average revenue per month, for 418,000 only. An average revenue for what? 418,480 that Tecnovice have been generating, if it's an average, because there are some months that we generated say 500,000, some month we generated say 600,000, some month like this we generated 100,000, other months we generated 600,000. So on an average for the 5 months that we have been generating revenue, we have generated just 418,480. Now moving forward to the direct expenses. Let me bring all our statement together so that we see. Moving forward to the direct expenses, you will see that the average that we have been generating so far, this one, direct expenses, the average that we have generated so far, it will give us how much we started incurring direct expenses. 1, 2, 3, 4. Direct expenses average, we sum to this one divided by 4. We have been generating a direct expense of 193,000, certainly not generating incurring. we have been incurring a direct expense on an average for 193,111 compared to the average revenue 418,480. So going to our indirect expenses on an average, that means on a monthly basis, how much do we spend? Going to our indirect expense on a monthly basis, I want to use the month of March because the month of April, the month of February, we did not have much. We had just 39,000 and then not too much amount. So we look for the average of the month that is generally something looking like Tecnovice, where we started having some real expenses. So on an average, we have this 5 months here. On an average, Tecnovice is incurring 1.7 million. So for us to even break even, comparing the average expenses we make for indirect expenses per month, 1.7 million plus 193,111, that is a combination of say close to 2 million. Tecnovice need to generate a revenue of 2 million and above to even break even. 2 million and above to even break even. That means to cater for it what? Average profit. However, this is an average, by the way, because there's some month that we spend more and there's some month that we spend less. So just by what Mr. Leke was saying, I say let me just highlight it and show to us. But when we're doing analysis, we go mostly with the rate because it helps us to forecast moving forward. So I try to do something we call scenario analysis, looking at the percentage growth. If you look at the average for the month that the percentage have been growing, we have a 112% growth. Now this is because 112 because we had a huge amount of growth from 100,000 to 312,000. But this is Tecnovice. Tecnovice is not just a side business. So we cannot look at 100,000 as a base. So if you look at 100,000 as a base, that would be very misleading for the future. So for that reason, we will not consider this 112% growth. Rather, we'll consider from May, which is 96% growth, 77.7% growth, and July, so that we should be more realistic. Because if we compare this month of April comparing to that 100,000, Tecnovice cannot be 100,000 revenue per month, but as it is for a start, that was the case. So for us to get a more realistic view, we'll use the month of April as a base. Now, if we are using the month of April as a base for the case of forecasting, then if we want to look at the average, then the month of April will start by 100%. Base will always be 100%. So if the base will be 100%, then we can look at the average. Now, the average, which shows that we can say average will be for these 4 months, we will have 62% average growth. Yeah, because we have the month of May 92%, it will balance up. That means it will set off the 7.7% growth and then the 45% growth. So on an average, Tecnovice have to grow by 62%. I don't know how that could be true with the GM and the marketer, but however, we'll move to the next. We'll go to the direct costs. The direct costs on an average, Tecnovice started incurring costs in the month of April. So we can take that average as a direct cost rate. On an average, the direct cost started with 298%, 98,000, sorry, and then move forward to the month of May, is skyrocketed to 156%. That means from 298,000 to 765,000. Of course, Tecnovice is running at the normal rate of 700. So we don't want to consider this 298,000 because when Tecnovice will start that, we continue moving forward, there will be a more expenses as we'll be getting project. So looking at this growth rate, we might say, okay, if we want to consider, we can just take the average of the cost. So we can consider the average of the cost because when cost is concerned, we either overstate the cost, so that will be more realistic than to understate the cost because we don't know what the inflation and then other risk factor in the economy might bring. So looking at the average, there is an average of 68% growth rate of the cost. But now, if we look at it carefully in the month of June and the month of July, we see that the cost dropped significantly. So due to this significant drop, it shows that the costs have been well managed. So considering this 64%, it might be misleading. So we might just say, okay, due to the rate at which a cost is declining, because there's a good proper management of the cost. Most of the material that we have bought, we are doing the service here. We are doing the service means most of the materials can be used for other projects like the screwdrivers and other things. When we have a new job, like in the case of the month of May, when we had new jobs, we need to buy screwdriver for that job. That we use a screwdriver for a particular job doesn't mean we'll not use that same screwdriver for the next job. That we use a particular uniform for the particular job doesn't mean we'll not use the same uniform for the next job. So in that case, we can rather make the average to be more reasonable. Say there will be a constant growth rate for the direct cost of say 15%. Of say 15%. So if we put here say 15%, then that will be more real in the sense that, as I've already explained, because we will not be using too much cost. We are doing the service business here. We are not doing but a product business where we have to buy material to sell to make profit. We are using better our soft skills. So going to indirect costs, we have seen that it have been declining. So for indirect costs, there's a decline in the indirect costs. So when we look at the declining rate of indirect costs, looking at the average, if we look at the average of the indirect costs, there we'll have something like, if we start from the month of March, I always like to make it so high. So we'll have a 32% increase. A 32% increase of indirect costs, which is not the case, because looking at the month, March 56, April 41, May 30, that means it's dropping. But for the most part, for average sake, we put it at 32% increase. Now, if we put it at 32% increase, then we can easily do our forecast. Forecast, it will mean we'll start from the month of July. That means there will be a growth rate of 62%. If there will be a growth rate of 62% in the month of July, that means the revenue will have to grow by this 62%. That means there will be more 62% to this one. That's 1 point something million addition to this 2.962,400. So this is where the GM and the marketer will come in, because what I'm looking for is to test the validity of this growth rate. So, Mr. GM and the marketer, I want you to help me, particularly based on the presentation I've done so far, to give me your own input regarding Tecnovice. You know the strength, I don't know, but based on my figures, these are the average strength that we can say Tecnovice can grow by. So, in the month of August, is there any possibility that the revenue might grow to 62%? Looking at the analysis so far. So GM, you might want to say something. Marketer, you might want to say something. It's very helpful.
Okay. Yes. There's greater possibility.
Okay. So what about you, the marketer?
Yeah, looking at the current situation of things at the moment, I think that we have all the possibility to hit the target. With the way things are looking, sound positive that we're going to get to that position.
Okay, thank you so much. If that is the case, then I will settle for the 62% growth rate. Now, this is where our scenario analysis will play in. However, moving to the direct cost, which is a cost of good and all, we saw that there will be a growth rate of 15%. So, in addition to our month of July direct cost 772,000, there will be a 15% increase. So 15% increase could be maybe 300,000 or whatever amount we will see in the future moving forward. And then if that is the case, because people have been managing the direct cost so far, we are 0 point something percent, but because of cost rate and forecasting, we have to use a prudent concept. That means we'll increase it by probably 10% or 15%, which we have just done. So indirect expenses, we have been noticing a decline in the growth rate from 17 to 15. If you look at it from the previous month, if you want me to unhide, I'll show you again. So if you unhide, you see that the indirect indirect expenses growth rate have been declining 38, 9, 56, 41, 30, 17, and 15. So on an average, the growth rate could be 15, it could be 17, but since it's cost, we have to always overestimate the cost to be on the safe side. So looking at the average, we put it at 32%. So putting that 32% doesn't mean we have to spend that 32%. If someone is not muted, someone can mute himself so that I don't get distracted. So thank you so much. So due to this growth rate, what I will do is I'll apply a multiplication factor. Now, if the growth of the month of July revenue, we have to grow by
Mr. Nunez, can you mute,
62%.
please?
That means the month of August, the revenue will be
Mr. Nunez, can you mute?
100.
Sorry.
Okay.
Yes.
If we are saying that based on our this is a scenario analysis, a forecast, a projection, if we are saying that the growth of the revenue for next month, that is the month of August, we grow by 62%. That means the month of August, the revenue will be 162%. That means an increase of 62% plus this normal base is always 100. The base is always 100. So what I mean is base is always 100. Base is always 100. So I'll just make it 100 there so that we see. So base is always 100. And then we have, do this one. So we have our 62%. Let me not alter it. 62%. So our multiplication factor, which I will use here, will be 62% plus 100. That will be 162. Okay, that will be 162. So I will leave out the point 162. This is our multiplication factor. So I will multiply now to see the forecast for the next month, see the month of December 2025, to see if Tecnovice, how much Tecnovice will be making. So GM marketer, I'm holding you people on this growth rate. You people are the one to make it work. Thank you so much for Mr. Roland that you're still with us. So let me do the multiplication and then let's see. So what I will do is I will multiply this amount. I will multiply this amount by our multiplication factor. How much it will increase? It will increase to 3.3 million 89,688. So a difference of 1 point something million because of the growth of 62% revenue. So revenue for the month of August, we're expecting to have a 3,389,688 revenue. If you want to look at the difference, it's pretty simple. You just take this minus this amount. We need to look for a revenue for the month of August for 1.2 million 97,288. However, we move to the month of September. Now, using the same growth rate, 62%, compare with that of August. Now, if the month of August, the growth rate maintained at an average of 62%, which I believe it will be high as the GM told us, using the multiplication factor, we will have a revenue of 5,491,294. So we'll have say 2 million revenue moving forward. So I will use this formula and then I will apply it all through to the December 2025 so that we will see if Tecnovice will have a significant amount of revenue to break even. So if I use my fill and drag to the month of December, everything being equal, we'll see that from the month that we are at now, the month of August, right to December 2020, December 2025, the revenue will be increasing steadily. I believe it will be more, but for the fact of forecasting, we'll use that percentage growth. Percentage can grow to 100%. However, let's use a 62%. So in the month of December 2025, everything being equal, we'll need to be having everything being, or we need to have this much percentage growth. We need to have this much percentage growth, which we'll be having here an amount of, this is 14 million.
Yeah, wait, I send now. I send. Hmm.
Thank you, the CEO, for joining. Thank you. Wow, Mr.
Okay.
Blanco, thank you for joining. If I start presenting, I don't know if I will be able to admit the other people. But however, let me just go straight to the presentation. If anybody pops up, I will certainly admit. So, looking at the percentage growth, 62%, if it grows at that rate, then we'll be
You want to
talking of
share your
billion.
screen?
Oh, we'll be talking of billion, and I want to the GM has. Okay, let me share my screen. Okay, are you viewing my screen?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Thank you so
Yes.
much. So, looking at the percentage growth, we have here our multiplication factor, 15% growth for
GM,
the
GM, please
direct
mute your
cost,
phone.
15% growth for the direct cost. So, in the month of August, we're expecting direct cost to grow by 15%. So, we'll have an increase of.
I will use. Yes.
Thank you so much, Mr. Roland, for joining. Thank you so much for giving out this time for us to
Hello.
do this scenario analysis. So,
Hello.
looking at the cost for the month of August, direct costs, we'll be having 888,308. So, going forward to the month of September, we'll use our same formula. This amount we multiply by the percentage growth, so it will increase by probably 300 or 200,000. So we have in the month of September,
Please, class
GM,
spirit, please, can you mute your mic?
Miss. Okay. So, okay. So the direct cost increasing by 15%. If the direct
Call
cost
me that
increase,
one.
hello, can I continue?
Yes, yes, thanks.
Sure, good.
Thank you so much. Now, if the direct cost increase by 15%, in the month of August, it will skip from 772,000 to 888,000. That's an increase of 15%. So moving forward, in the month of September, we have 1,121,555. So we forecast it to the month of December. So the direct cost, 15% only, 15% increase, you see, it will not be that much compared to the billion that we have there. Now, one thing when forecast is concerned is that the more the percentage growth, the more the amount, because that is how much a percentage growth can extrapolate to give us that value that we're having there. So the percentage growth for the month of for the revenue 62%, I think is very rare to find. But if we can perform that, then that's what we are looking at. However, we'll go and do some certain scenario analysis to have some realistic value moving forward. Our concern is to know when Tecnovice will break even. Our concern is to know when Tecnovice will break even, so that we apply all the strategies necessary, just like what Mr. Leke was trying to say. So our focus is the revenue, which he was saying that the green values, but yet I did not mention as green. So let me put the green values because it's very helpful. So these are the green values. So I don't know if the highlighting will make people to see clearly or what. Then now the indirect, the direct costs, these are the direct costs. I will put it yellow because it's a cost that the company, or probably, yeah, let me put it this color. Then the indirect costs. Now, the indirect costs. So indirect costs, we already have an indirect cost right to the month of July of 8.7 million. Now, if indirect costs will grow by 32%, before we saw that it was already growing at a declining rate from 17 to 15. So there's a probability that it will keep going down because most of the expenses have been incurred, just like Mr. Leke highlighted. Rent, salaries, those are mostly fixed and it will not change. So certainly there will be probably no growth. But for the other expenses like consumables, office supplies, bills, tax, and all, okay, that percentage might go up. Maybe not up to 32, but maybe 20. But for the case of cost, we put it at 32, considering our revenue growth to 62%. So let me do the calculation, then let's see. So if there's a 32% growth rate, then we'll have a cumulative, that means a multiplication factor of 132. So our multiplication factor will be 132. That is the previous month plus the 32%. That will give us now the total of the next month. So we always know there is an addition to it, not just a total amount for that month only. So that's what we have been working at. If we want to work month by month, then there will be different analysis. But month by month analysis and a cumulative analysis in all the values like sales, direct costs, and indirect costs, the same analysis will apply. If it's monthly basis, whatever, the same analysis will apply. The percentage growth will be the same. So most importantly, I said let me highlight that so that we see we see it for ourselves. So going, excuse you, what have I not done? Okay, I've reduced my presentation to, okay. I've reduced. Am I sharing my screen?
Yeah.
What have
Yes,
what is
we can see your screen.
done? But for the most part, let me do the, okay. This is what I was looking for. Okay, so back to where we stopped due to the interruption that was on my part. So, how much do we have for the month of? How much do we have for the month of August? How much do we have for the month of August? I will take this amount multiply by the multiplication factor, which is 132%. So the month of August, we're expecting to have an indirect expenses of 11 million. So we know that there will be an addition of 3 million added to it. Meanwhile, it might not be the case. But for the case of forecasting, we are always forecasting high expenses and then less revenue, just to be on the safe side. So if you look at the chart here, you see that at the end of the day, we have a loss of what? 9 million. Now the loss went from 7 million 400,000 to 9 million due to the increase in the expenses and the low percentage growth in the sales. Now, we want to forecast moving forward. So I will use this month of August. I will multiply by our multiplication factor, which is this one, the 132%. Now, why I'm putting 132% is because we are considering 32% growth in expenses, which cannot be the case. We are considering 11 and 15% growth in direct costs, which is not the case. And then we are considering 62% growth in revenue, which our marketer and the GM has said is possible. So if I will do the forecasting till the month of December 2025, we'll have 986,494,000. I don't know how real that is, but due to the estimation of our percentage growth, then we had that value. Otherwise, we might want to change. Someone return, okay. Mr. Badrim, okay, thank you so much for joining. Otherwise, we might want to do some scenario analysis. Now, when you look at the chart, our focus should be when the company will break even. You look at where we'll have loss. Anything in bracket is loss. So if you look at it from here, it's a loss of 9 million, loss of 10 million, 12 million, 13 million, 13 million, 10 million loss. Now the loss is reducing. Why? Because revenue is growing at a higher rate. Now there's the percentage growth in the rate of revenue is 60%, 62%. You are seeing 62%. Percentage growth for direct expenses, percentage is growing at 15%. So at one point, the percentage growth rate of revenue we offset the percentage growth of all the expenses. So if you combine 15% plus 32%, you will just have accumulation of, we have say 47. That's 47% growth in expenses. These are two things that we're focusing on. If you combine the percentage growth of the expenses, you see that there is just a 47% growth in expenses, while revenue is growing at a more higher rate with a more different, a very significant difference. So looking at that, we'll see that the company is still making loss right till the month of February 2025. So the loss will end at the month of February 2025, where we start having probably a profit. Company will start making a profit. Now, in the month of March 2025, company will start making a profit of 15 million. Everything being equal. If what the GM and the marketer they are telling us that the percentage growth of the revenue will be 62%, that means in the month of March 2025, Tecnovice will be running on a profit of 15 million. So how real those values are, I cannot tell, but that will depend mostly for the GM and the marketer. That means profit will be increased by 15 million, the next month of April 51 million, the next month 100 and something million, which is a plus for the company. However, I want us to run certain scenarios. Now let's assume on my part, the GM, please, can you give us another lower rate of percentage growth in the month of average percentage growth of revenue, a lower rate, please, that you think you can achieve? That's a scenario analysis case, because we have already
Sir,
said,
I'm
yeah.
sorry, Mr. Wesley. I had some questions. I don't know if I can ask them, then you continue with the analysis.
Yes, please.
And just to comment, I think what you're doing here, of course, is great. But on my side, I would prefer the main values. And if we have question on how you came up with the main values, then you can get into the detail. For example, you give us your best scenario, worst scenario, percentage rate. These are the values for the years. Worst scenario,
Okay.
percentage rates, and to just make things concise and brief. Yes.
Okay.
So can I ask the questions just really quick, just brief questions, one, two, and we are done. Okay, firstly, I hope the GM is around. It looks like he's on a phone call.
He's attending to one of our clients from the US, so they're trying to go through some processes. Let me inform him that his attention is needed.
All right, thanks. So while he's there, I would ask uh, yes. Okay, while he's yet to come, then I would just comment on what Mr. Wesley is doing. According to your analysis, there is a growth projection, but we know there is this ceiling point, right? This point where we
Hello?
see. Okay, I'm sorry, Mr. Wesley. I'll just have to dive back to what I think is more important according to
Okay.
my
Okay.
questions.
Okay.
All right. Mr. GM, thanks again for the presentation you showed today. And firstly, we know that we don't just want to make profits, but we want a strong corporate values. And corporate values would give us the reputation, which will come to give us the more profit. So, what about these employees who got fired at this early stage? What happened? What was the situation? And what actions were taken to avoid that in the closest future?
Okay, sir. Thank you very much, Chwanga, for that question. Yeah, since the company started, actually, we have always created a kind of a collaborative atmosphere so that we can have good working condition at the level of the office. And one of the major reasons why this particular worker was fired was because of incompetency, especially in the delivery of tax. And he's handling a very important, vital aspect of Tecnovice, that is digital marketing. And most at times, the most important thing that we don't want to find ourselves is tussling of getting to our clients late. Most at times, we have established certain relationship with some of our clients that we work their, do their adverts, work or manage their accounts. And most of the times, is always lacks in his tax and don't finish his tax on time. And then coupled with that, there was almost a time that he nearly beat a worker, also a co-worker in the office. So all of that before coming to the point of even firing this particular worker, it was unbearable. I think the CEO was even around and watched everything that happened before even resort to that. We cannot be paying you that you are not ready to deliver the job. You are being paid because you work, not just from coming to work. You are paid because we know you are able to deliver the tax. And looking at the health of the company, we can't be tolerating. We are bare with such character and behavior. They came late. He is the highest person that came late in the month of July. And I considered an extra time again that if I had announced a month ago that anyone that come after this time will be considered as half day, that announcement was passed at several times in the office. And he happened to be one of those who ignored it and came extremely late. And after making some calculation, just a few amount of money was cut from their salaries as a form of discipline so that they should take the company serious. He came and confronted me in the office. Why did I cut his money? And when I even tried talking to him, he was arguing that the other people they cut their monies and money. How come they cut his own money this way? I told him that you don't want to tell me how to do my job. So I looking at that kind of a worker that instilled maybe disobedience or disloyalty on the other workers, I think is a bad element to keep in our midst. So looking at that, as now I already have a lady that I interviewed, I think 2 days ago, which will be resuming work by Tuesday this coming week. And she's good at both marketing and digital marketing. But for now, him being absent, the responsibility have been shared between Miss Lisa, who also have a expertise also in digital marketing, Madame Julien for content creation, and then Mr. Lunet or other managing other account, and then Betty for go viralize. So that's how the situation has been managed for now until the new girl
Thanks,
come in, resume our
thanks a lot, Mr. J.
position.
Thanks a lot. Like of course we know. Firstly, I appreciate all what the initiative you. And on the other hand, we know that the right staffing can reduce about 60 or 70% of our staff issues. So I hope we are putting more actions towards the people we are staffing, towards having interviews which really bring out, we can analyze. It's fine to have 1, 2 interview even, so that you can get the right worker. For now, we have just 12, 13 employees, so you can give that much time, to avoid things like that's just my comment on that. And the next question is the accountant, as from his detailed presentation, he said in the month of June to July, we saw a really high reduction in expenses. I think that was direct expenses. And he gave some reasons as to why maybe we bought some things, some material which we can also use in the next month. So is that true? Is that really what happened? Just to know that from you.
Sorry, I didn't get you
Sorry.
correctly.
Okay, I would. Okay, in the month of June, we had June to July. There was a low expense rate. So we see the month of May with 156 expenses, then the month of June with 0.51. So why exactly? So why the difference in cost of services? What happened there? The accountant gave some examples of what could have happened, but I want to know exactly why, what caused that reduction in the cost of expenses, cost of services.
Like I said, that month, that particular month was actually a challenging month for us, even though it was the month that we had the highest form of marketing that particular month. Some workers were down, some were on permission. So I will I would like the marketer to come in to say much here, because that was a month that we actually worked so much on marketing, and there were certain things that we incur personally. So, Mr. Lume, I would like you to say something in that area before I conclude.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, manager. Regarding that month of June, as concerned the cost of services, most of the things that we're using for the month of June were already incurred before June. So in that case, while we are rendering those services, the cost now was already incurred in the month of April and May. So much so that when we go to June, we no longer need to incur those expenses again. We're simply making use of the things we have at hand, and also before they have a bit of more mastery of the situations of how to try to minimize the issue of cost, and also ensure that some certain costs are incurred by the clients when they need our services, unlike before where we need to rush to them and incur the cost by ourselves. But now this cost was passed on to the clients, so much so that when we are executing, we no longer incur those costs. That's what brought down the cost for the month of June. And we
Brilliant.
realized it go through to the month of July, because again, the month of July, what we did in June was what paid off in July, so much that we never incurred more expenses because we're now reaping the rewards for what we have been doing over the month. So that was what brought down the cost.
So, just to add now to what Mr. Lone said, there were certain causes that there were certain responsibilities that we took to ourselves, like the marketers trekking from one store to another. And since there was not enough expenses, so they took upon themselves to make that sacrifice. They didn't pay transport. So they were moving from one store to another. We actually did a mapping of several locations where we know we have clients who we are to reach onto, maybe that need our services. So they took upon themselves, the marketers, that particular month, moving from one place to another. And so that's why we have that drastic drop, because most of the things we did, we never experienced any expenses.
All right, Mr. Jim, thanks a lot. And last question, please. Mr. Jim, you talked of us. We already seen that there is a lucrative niche on training boot camps. So, and you talked about the future actions going to the Ministry of this, that, brilliant. And can you tell us more? Can you say more about what we could expect from this niche? And yes, just what you have in mind. If there is nothing more to add, then that's fine. Yes,
No,
just
thank you very much. Like I talk about, my main idea is the aspect of visibility, that is getting the people knowing who we are and the services we offer. I realized that the events that we went for at UP actually gave us some announcement, and the result was the number of students that we have for intent than whatever had before. And so it only made me to understand that we have wonderful services, but the population is not yet aware of. Many people are not yet informed. And what also gives them a comfort is the fact that we have an office. So they know they could come and maybe reach on to us there at the office. So I will look at the platform that if we could also outsource more events. Now, outsource more event, that means we search around, know events that are happening around technology and actually be part of it. And that is why I listed some of the ministries that I know that always have that platform to offer seminars, workshops, and probably if we could get to them, maybe just like the Ministry of Vocational Training, and telling them that we want to train some students for free if they have, they send it to us. That can give us some certain relationship even with the state, so much so that we can organize things like seminars or events, maybe, and it can give us a better platform to advertise our products. And who knows, we can get some big clients from that aspect. And it can also make us any certificate that we give for maybe students who come to us to be trained to be, I think, heavily recognized by the state. So I saw that great increase for just that event that we went out and the award seminar we attended at Chariot Hotel. So I know that if we actually engage that aspect, we will actually be getting people to be aware of who Tecnovice is and our services that we offer. Because the very first challenge that we had was the challenge of trying to announce all our services at once, which was actually very, very difficult. So we had to come up with a strategy to maybe segment our services and then make it targeted for each month. That means we can say this month we want to focus only on CCTV camera, web development, graphic designing, and probably digital marketing. And when we did that, actually we realized that we become more effective than trying to put all the services at once in the market. And coming out with the recent product that the CEO, we had a brief meeting with the CEO on the Dimples Pay, that if we successfully brand it, we can relate even with NEO, even with the banks, and that can be a vital product that can bring huge finances to Tecnovice.
Okay.
All right. Thanks very much, sir. Thanks very
Yeah.
much.
Can I just add something to that, especially when it comes to
Definitely.
bootcamp? Yeah.
Definitely, sir.
Yeah. So since I came, I've been putting my nose, my eyes on my head down to see what most people around need. And if you walk around, you will see that there was a whole lot of theory happening around until students are beginning to like give up on theory. So you find majority of the youths kind of like um, they get certificates and they can't actually do anything. So we kind of like set up the boot camp, like just introduce it into the market, and we've had kind of um, positive review as far as that is concerned, where students believe that if they can instead spend more time on hands-on experience, then they will become more prepared for the job market and
Effective
everything.
and
Yeah.
productive.
So when we try to like do a small test around, we saw that um, we even had parents who came and after leaving the office went and sent their children to the office to come and get maybe updates about the bootcamp, which we intend to run it more like a more practical class. So in as much as other schools around probably might focus on theory, we can just decide to like run only practical sessions. So if you go and do all the theory and you need something on hands-on experience, you can come to Tecnovice. And we have advantage for the fact that we have our own services which are live. So if we are training, for example, students practically, we have systems like, for example, the Dimples Pay, which and our POS software, which they can like learn and improve features that's already working, rather than just trying to develop applications that will never go live. Like even if you go to, if you see most of our interviews that we've had so far with most of the engineers who have actually come to either work with us or maybe to intern with us, when you find when you ask them question if they have worked on any application that is currently being used in the market, they kind of like no. So it means that they are already kind of like in a weaker position, or they already feel like that is kind of like something tough. But we have systems that is already in the market, and if we can run these boot camps and make some of them work on applications that are already in the market, it's going to empower them in the process, and also put us, like announce us to more people who will probably come to us if come to us maybe to learn from an institution or a company that gives them the platform to practically work on projects that people are using, and that will help most of our engineers coming from schools. I have also had conversations with head of departments in some of the schools around who are into tech, and they are kind of like happy that we exist and we have real life applications that people can actually use, and they are kind of like they would they would they are willing to pay, like they are willing to talk to their students to pay for them to have those kind of practical sessions with us. So it's something that I've seen that is very lucrative until I've been kind of like making some kind of moves in just around where we are, spotting locations where if we want to expand, we can expand to. But probably we could start with what we have at the moment and hopefully expand to a location that I've just found very close by, which I have just kind of like talked to the owner of the place to put me in his mind while he's developing the place. Yeah. So I think that there's a good niche around there, and from what I've seen, people willing to pay, they are willing to pay in hundreds of thousands. Like some are willing to pay in 280,000, some 200,000. Yeah, so I think that is actually a good market if we can actually set up that platform. I've been thinking also about practical curriculums that we could set up, I and the head of engineering, to make it, because I and the head of engineering also did a practical session from an American institution, and we learned a lot through that process, which kind of like put us in a position where we felt like after leaving school, there's a whole lot that we can do just from the lessons that we learned from that practical institution, which cost us more than $15,000 just to get that through. And we think that we have that exposure. If we can put that in place, we'll be able to empower the youth, and thereby making also some profit for ourselves. Yeah. So that is one of the things that hopefully we will be discussing that more detailedly at the level of the board, to see how we can plan, and then maybe get that in place after we must have gotten more numbers, like more statistics from the current ones who are currently intending with us. Yeah.
All right, then Mr. Stanley, thanks a lot. And I would wait. I would later. I would get a video to get your end of meeting briefing. I would like to watch that later. Then thanks GM, thanks market manager, thanks Mr. Wesley for the detailed presentation. I'll be leaving you all now. And to all members of the movies, I really appreciate this come together, and I'm really very positive. I live here to the positive spirit about our future. Yes, so thanks a lot, and see you all shortly in the next meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you. It was nice having you.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank you very
much.
much.
Now that we are left with people. Okay, now thank you. I'm so
Back to the
happy.
initial people.
I'm so I'm so happy with Mr. Leke for dropping out on the average thing, even though we were going there. And I'm so happy with Mr. Emmanuel to come with the scenario analysis, which really helped me to summarize it here. So the GM, the marketer, I will really need your input about the same. So I want to just highlight this portion so that you should know what is going on here. Now this is the second case scenario. So back to where we were. This is a first case scenario. If someone is someone could mute it himself or what? Everybody should mute, please. GM, thank you. Okay. We have Mr. Lenz. Thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate. So
Thank you,
welcome.
so I came late. Yeah.
Welcome. Okay. So
Greetings,
back,
everyone, by the way.
Greetings, greetings.
yeah, welcome, Mr. Lenz. So we are at the final stage of our we are at the final stage of our scenario analysis, and it's very real because marketer, the GM, I want to beg you particularly because this presentation, as you know already, board of directors will end up looking at the same, and then they'll be expecting that what you have said should come to pass. For that reason, I want to give us 4 case scenario. This is the first case scenario. First case scenario says, based on our scenario table here, it says in the month of May 2025, we'll be having a profit of 15 million, everything being equal. May 2025, considering that the revenue will grow at a constant rate of 62%, direct costs at a constant rate of 15%, and then indirect costs at a constant rate of 32%. If you people are okay with it, then we can give it a tick, hoping to see that profit in the month of May 2025, 15,812,022 francs. However, since this is a forecasting, we don't know what will happen. Maybe it can even increase, or it can even remain fixed, or it can even drop. So we go to the next case scenario. So I want the marketer and the GM, you people should help me and then give me another rate of sales that you think our sales can grow constantly moving forward. That you and the marketer can join hands together and make sure that Tecnovice achieve that amount of growth rate monthly because of the investment that is already been injected into the company. So over to you, the GM, then marketer can join whoever will come first, please.
That's 62.33%. From what I
Okay.
got, we're talking of a rate of 1,200,000.
Okay. Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, it's based on that, the rate of 62.33%.
Okay. Yes, you're correct.
Yeah, given our current forecast and
Yeah.
what we have been putting on the ground so far,
Mhm.
um, our target, we have decided based on reality that we'll set a target of not less than 1 million every month.
Wow.
So, which
Okay.
means worst case scenario, the worst case scenario based on that, if 62.33% is 1,200,000. So I
Yes.
don't know, deduct us 200,000 from that scenario, you can get the second case, which I think that's the least I and the manager will settle on.
Now, if that is what you're saying, and then I will just look at the differences of the monthly basis based on what Mr. Leke was highlighting before,
Yeah.
which is a plus for us to know how the changes are being done.
Mhm.
So, looking at what I'm doing right now, looking at the changes on a monthly basis. Now, on the monthly basis, if you look at it carefully, I will highlight it with red. On the monthly basis, we'll have, okay, since that is revenue, let's not put red there. Revenue is always a beautiful thing for us. So let's put a pink color. And then for the cost, okay, we can put cost for red. Cost is red. So there will be an increase in the cost on a monthly basis for direct cost for 115,866. And then for indirect cost, there will be an increase in the cost for one, that is, there will be an increase in the cost for 2 million based on the percentage growth, which is 32%. But we know that percentage growth have been reducing from 15 to 17 to 15. But
Yeah.
considering that that's the best case scenario, 32%. So my
Yeah.
focus here is to draw our attention to the increase. Now, also, we should note that when the month will be increasing based on the capital, as long as we're having much revenue, certainly technology should be growing. Now, when technology should be growing, at that same rate, the amount will be increasing. Now, see, this is what is going on. At that same rate, amount will increase. That's 62.33%. At that same rate, the amount will grow not just by 1 million, it will grow by 2 million, because more sales means more business, more people, more marketing, more market, and more portion. So if it's growing at that rate, then 2 million the next month, and then the next month you see that it will go again to 3 million. That means there's an increase going on. 3 million this month, increase 1 million this month, increase 2 million, because the company is growing larger. People are getting to know us. We are going international. We are going to back all the markets in the country. So if that rate is so like the way you have said it, then we believe that, then I think that would be a very wonderful growth, and I've never seen a company doing that. However, that's the best case scenario, everything being equal. So if you say you want to reduce it, I want you to reduce that percentage again, that you know that you will achieve. Because if you say you achieve 62%, it means in the month of August, you need to generate a revenue of 1.2 million. In the month of September, you need to generate a revenue, that means monthly revenue of 2 million, considering how you'll be expanding, and this our machine should be coming and all. So in the month of August, as times are going, you are increasing the revenue. We are growing, as we know the rate is growing. So we are growing also. It's not a kind of fix something. It's a growth rate. That's why we say growth rate, not constant rate. So now this is a case scenario. If that is the case, then we're going to break even. Then the company will break even in the month of, May. This is the year 2025. Company will break even in the month of May 2025, then making a profit of 15 million. If we work by, say,
excuse me, before you proceed, please. So I'm a little bit confused. So he gave his own projection, and you analyze it, you simulated it for several months.
Yes.
So I don't know if he's go, they're going to stay fixed on that amount to generate that amount every month. Since you just took it and you simulated it for different months, because it's going to change for the next month. Are you telling me that?
Yes.
Yes. So are you telling me that from the analysis, every month is going to be, you are going to expect the amount that you said that we should make that amount, that percentage per month?
Yes. If growth rate for this month is 62%, and then the base value is 100, then we have to make 162. Now, at the next month, we had another rate of 162, and then growth rate again 62%. So 162, if you multiply 62%, you will not just have 62, but you have something more than 62. Probably you have 80 or 90 something. So as a thing, the company is expanding, so the revenue have to grow at that rate. So that is how you do the forecast. So you cannot put a particularly fixed amount that's what you want to be earning. Because if you put fixed amount, that's not forecast. Forecast is growth rate. So that's why when the growth rate is so high, there's a compounding effect. That's why we want to put worst case scenario, best case scenario, and then good or better case scenario. So this is a best case scenario. That means in the month of August, you have 1.2 million growth sales that you have to generate. That's a target that we have to meet. In the month of September, we have 2 million target we have to meet. Because whatever we are having advantage, as long as we're in the market, we're expanding, just like the other big guns, the big companies in the country. So they are just expanding, going international. So that's how Tecnovice is forecasting to become. We don't want to remain constant. We don't want to be generating one and the same thing every day. As we grow, we have to grow the capacity. So, have I answered your question?
Let's say battery.
Hello?
Yes, it's good. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Badrim. Is that Badrim?
Check.
Mr. Blanco. Yes, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Yes,
So,
Mr. Ward, that's it. I also have some comments to make.
okay.
For us to achieve that target, there are always some costs which we need to incur. And
Yes.
I just want to make this observation. Most of the times, when we plan on going out for the marketing, I don't know,
Yeah.
the the financial support usually comes in very late,
Okay.
especially we might go towards the end of the month and that's when it comes out. And most of the times now we only get to realize the output the following month, not even the month that we plan for, because we always get the support very late. So you and your board to see how we can work on it. And another thing which I want to put to the board also is the fact that the board has not given us a forecast marketing budget to work with. For marketing budget, we don't know within which frame we are working with. Because I know you might want to tell me we are the ones who come up with the plans, tell me the marketing budget. However, when it comes to the issue of marketing, the board decides on the budget, the marketer looks at the best case scenario on how to make use of that budget. But if you keep it open to the marketer, it might go beyond your expectation because he believes this is what has to be done and this is what's going to drive the sales. But now that's not what is available. And at the end of the day, it becomes unrealistic. So it's always good to have an idea on what the board is proposing and we see how we can do and draw up a strategy based on the availability, allocation, also based on the location for that particular aspect. Again, our signature product will be launched anytime soon, which happens to be Dimple's Pay. And based on the discussions we have been having, it shows Dimple's Pay is going to be one of our major products that's going to announce Tecnovice. But so far, we have just been doing things which are like open to the market, like things of web development and the rest. You know, the challenge we are facing with that also is the fact that, as Mr. Blanco will know, when someone you tell someone have to do a website for 150,000 francs, students do it for 50,000, and people at times don't look at value in terms of output. They rather focus on value in terms of the extra money you're going to save. So why if like if you 100, 150, and another person can do it for 50? You know, within our context, we are still trying to embrace technology. So most of the time, those things usually come up. So I also wish to say that as we are planning to launch the Dimple Pay, it's good to start having a clue as to how uh, what the board has set aside for that particular product. So incorporate that into our strategy to, to put in post pay
Okay.
out there.
Okay.
And like, if I may add some things, the CEO said that Dimple's Pay is going to be the major product of Tecnovice. So I've been thinking from the analysis giving that if we start having maybe um, forecast, which is good, that we have not even entered our major product, how actually does it look like? So I'm thinking in that light because we if we have to launch the impulse pay, we will need budget to launch that particular product. And since boss says it's going to be our major product, it means that all the other services that we are doing, we have not even entered our main product that will give us the amount of money that we desire for the company. So how do we manage all of that? What have been said concerning the Dimples pay? What is the budget that is going to be used for that particular product? Because those are the things that I expect that we also need to look at in terms of moving forward. Because if we have not yet entered our major product, and I think that we are already doing forecasts, I'm suggesting that I think we should better enter the major product that is what define what technology is all about. And then now, from the launching of that product, we were able to now make that forecast just the way you have just done. So I don't know if I'm wrong. I come to be corrected.
Can I say something on that?
Yeah.
Yeah, so if we look at our current services and then we can forecast like this, means that if our major product comes in, we are going to break even earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that if we can go with this as go with what we currently have, and when we actually put out our main service, then we can revisit the forecast and then try to see how we can like how fast we can break even once we put our main service outside. So coming also to the budget, I was going through the analysis that Mr. Lunier was also doing for um, for one of our clients who is looking forward to us developing a go-to-market strategy. And looking at the analysis that Mr. Lene actually jotted down, we saw about 1.5 million that that seems feasible to launch an application like that. So um, my goal after this meeting is to have a private session again with the board of directors to see how we can come up with something. I think Mr. Lune is actively working on the go-to-market strategy for Timpus Pay, which also will come alongside with a budget, which will help us maybe penetrate the market. We on the board will try to see how we can allocate the necessary funds that is required for the launching of the application. But just as I said earlier, at some point in time, we would we would we understand that we are doing everything for the interest of the company. So I think that once the budget is actually put in place, I mean, like for example, we are the ones budgeting ourselves. So we, based on our plan, set a budget. And when we set that budget, we can either approve that budget at the level of the board. Uh, so I think that maybe when Mr. Lonier probably would have come up with a complete plan of action with the budget that's required for that, for that, we can discuss maybe that amount at the level of the board and then see how we can make that funds available. Yes, so that we can launch that product. So
Okay.
yeah, maybe at the meantime, we can go with this current forecasting with the mindset that if Timple's pay goes up, we are going to break even earlier because
Okay.
I think that if Timple's pay goes earlier, this 62% is going to be even smaller.
Um, Thank you, boss. Looking at them, like currently, we are already getting to the second week of for
August.
August. Thank you, August. And and because me, I'm also very practical for us to get, and we have another budget again to collect the books that boss sent, which almost amounting to almost about 1 million. Because those are some of the things that also we really need to look into. Because I'm suggesting that each month, for example, we have a budget, or maybe if the board vote a budget, then we know that that budget we have that budget to plan from now till December.
You're right about that. I still think that that budget will have to be determined by us, and then we only propose it to the
Okay,
board. Yeah.
okay,
Yeah, so let's take for example, you are running the company, you know what you need per month. So if you
okay,
can propose what you need per month to the board, then the board can make that available in advance.
okay.
Yeah.
Thank
So
you.
yes, you're welcome. And with respect to the things that I sent, which we need close to about 1 million francs to get them and get it installed. What I want to propose is kindly share with me the receipts so I can place it at the level of the board so that we can find a way to see how we can get that money to you, hopefully by next week.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, still in line with that, I happen to have talked to someone who probably might go carry the stuff from Douala, maybe at almost around 20K.
Okay. So the person will go and carry it and bring, or the person required to go with me.
Of course, we'll go with you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. CFO, I really love what you are. I really love what you are doing. It's making me. I'm thinking 3 times now. Like that.
CFO will kill us.
Yes.
The man, when you see his face, you just know pressure is coming.
I'm telling you.
Should I
I'm
continue?
all money on the. I'm trying to smile. I'm not smiling very well. I want to smile. I'm not smiling very well.
Should I continue? Yes.
I'm only directing,
Anytime you come
directing,
on board,
directing, directing.
I don't say around that group.
Yes,
I've heard what
I really enjoy the
I'm
presentation.
telling you.
But I would like to ask this.
I also wish to.
See, I would like to
I
ask.
don't know if I can bring this up.
See, you guys are making me feel proud. See the kind of people I'm connected to. You see the kind of people
Yes,
I'm connected to.
I'm
Our
telling
able
you.
CFO.
Hey,
can I
CFO can give me.
continue?
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Before I continue, I want to first see if my time will catch me short. But however, I've shared already a link, and then for those of us that are not in the board of directors group, I will share to people personally, or someone will help. So we have 6 minutes. Let me present. Maybe we'll go up, and then another link is coming up. So for the marketer, our marketer, I don't know where he is. I was so happy with his question that we need to give a budget to work on it. That is the reason why we're doing this scenario analysis. Now, the reason for scenario analysis is not just to know when the company will break even, is to know how much they want as direct costs and then as indirect costs to generate that much revenue. As we have already seen, we saw that in the month of July, we have a percentage growth rate of 0.46, which is this one. I will highlight it for if you're having any challenge. We saw a percentage growth rate of 0.46 in the month of July of direct expenses. Now, if that percentage growth rate in the month of July of direct expenses is just that much, and then I'm putting an average percentage increase of 15%, it shows that I'm considering another extra cost which can be there for direct expenses of probably 14.52, but 14.54%. This is a new link. We've gone to a new link already. Mr. Blanco, you went to the new link. The old link is still running. So I don't know what we'll do. I don't know. I don't know what we'll do with the new link because the old link is still running. Or except we want to transfer or what, I don't know. We're having 4 minutes left.
Maybe we'll just transfer.
Oh, sorry. Anyways, let me just do presentation for the old link, and then when it finish, we'll jump to the new one. So, Mr. Marketer, I don't know if he's there. Mr. Lionel.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much. I'm happy you're there. So what I'm saying is, if you are saying of we need to give you a budget. Now this is the position where you have to tell us how much you want to give you. How much you want to give you is not a problem. Suppose you promise you generate a particular amount of money. Now you have promised us that you will generate a percentage growth rate of revenue, which is this amount. I'm putting it in green. Percentage growth rate of that amount in green. You have promised us that you will give us a percentage growth rate of 62%. Okay, if I'm not wrong. Now, how much will it cost you as direct expenses to generate that amount? We know that the previous direct expenses was just 0.46%. So we increase it by 15% to tell you that we want to create provision for that which we are saying. We are very mindful of the same. And then indirect expenses, maybe we want to employ some expertise in the company, which you people are already the best expertise that we have so far. And then if you want to employ more people to add to your manpower or more knowledge, we said, okay, We know that the percentage growth for indirect expenses was 15%, but we increased it by 100 and plus percent, 32% from 15 to 32. That means 100 and maybe 102%. So we have here 32% increase. Generally, it should be 15% or even less. They will increase it to 130, 102%. So we have a 32% increase. So this is what we are doing to capture all that which we are saying. So suppose you want to give another figures, please. This is a second case scenario that we want to go to. Now, based on what you have told me, which I've analyzed, it shows that if everything being equal, then we'll break even in the month of May 2025. So if that was probably a mistake or whatever, there is another second case scenario. So if you want to give me now your course that you want, so that you make the best amount ever, please, can I have it? How many percent growth do you think you need in order to generate as much as you can in Tecnovice?
I think with regards to the cost, it's something you cannot just determine often. It's only when you do a critical analysis and look at the various strategies you have to put in place that you can come up with a concrete amortize the cost. Yeah, just like you in accounting, I think us in the field of marketing, we also do our own analysis. But most of the times, what we try to do is to improve on the customer acquisition cost. Which means if you're spending 1,000 francs and you're generating 100,000, we also do a calculation to assess how well that cost was spent. So when we come up with the cost, we need to look at all what is needed.
Yes, boss.
I'm a little bit concerned when once you are asking those questions that they should tell us like how much percentage they are going to bring in return. I
Yes.
want to really ask myself that will be based on what? Like, is this just a guess or that will be based on? I think it should be more in depth. It should say, okay, based on this, based on this, based on this. Okay, we are going to generate this amount.
Okay. Thank you so much. Actually, we have already been doing some sharing about the average growth rate. So the average growth rate so far, we had an average growth rate of 62,
Yes.
62.33, average growth rate from the day we started. So we had an average growth rate of 62.33.
Yes.
Okay. Now, based on that average growth rate, now we are saying that if everything being equal, just like the economists will say, ceteris paribus, if it maintains like that, constant growth rate of 62 moving forward, how much are we going to get to the end of December 2025? So that's the first case. That's the first case scenario. We don't want to play anything now. Second case scenario, now we say, oh, maybe that is too much, maybe that is too less. I think we can get that much based on the value. Percentage can be really misleading, but now when they start to see the value is coming to million, billion, wow, they'll say, okay, let's be like that and all. So what I want to do is now to tell them to tell us what they can achieve. These are the marketers, these are the general managers. So I don't know if they want to connect or I don't know what's going on down there. They have not yet connected.
Oh, let me see.
Okay, maybe we have not shared them the link yet because we have
I
to
have
share
done
to
that.
them.
I've done that.
Oh, sorry. Thank you. So, Mr. Blanco, I'm so happy with that. So, what we have done is we have taken the look at now. Okay, see, for example, the direct cost, the average growth rate now was reducing to 0 point something, but yet we increase it to 15 because for cost you have to estimate it. You have to make cost to be high. That's a prudence concept. Costs have to be high, revenue need to be less. But yet this is a forecast, so it's not real. But forecast should be. Oh, thank you so much, Mr. GM, for joining. Where is your partner, Mr. Lionel? It's very helpful that people are here to give us these figures.
You both not tell me that you can play accounts so detail like this.
Sorry?
I say people like I say you not tell me that I have work like this to do.
Now I want to get from
Yeah.
you, just like what people have said. How much do you people need as a budget? We don't have problem with that. But now, if we give you this much, say if we give you 5 million for 1 month to run the company, how much million will you bring for that month? That is what I want to get from you people. So
Okay.
yes, it's very helpful because when we draw the analysis, then you people will know what people are facing here. It's very helpful moving forward. I don't know. Am I sharing my screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So, Mr. Lionel, I am just so happy that you have joined. Who is here again, Mr. Mr. Chair? Okay. So back to our presentation. This one is a first case scenario that if everything being equal, like Mr. GM, I don't know if I've answered Mr. Lonet's question. Mr. Lonet, this is a point where you and Mr. GM now will tell us those challenges. Now, maybe your budget for the cost to run the company was less and all. So instead of 15%, instead of in the month of July was 15% for indirect expenses, we increase it by 102%, bringing it to 32% growth. To tell you that we double the amount. On a monthly basis, we have a general cost of 1 point something million. But now there is a 2 million, 2 million increase. So there's a more amount I've added to that money so that you might have enough to run your campaign, run whatever you want to run to generate us this 62% increase. If you're okay with it, this is a first case scenario. Everything being equal, they will break even in the month of May 2025, making a profit of 15 million. If you're not okay with it, if the cost of the service to generate that much is so small, then tell me so that I will adjust this scenario analysis now. So let's go to the second. Tell me what you want. Start with the cost. How much cost can you incur to generate a higher percent revenue or lesser percent revenue? You tell me so that we do the forecast and see where we'll break even and all. Mr. Lionel. Is he there? Mr.
I'm
Lionel,
here.
yeah. Okay, please.
The issue, like I said again, the issue regarding the cost forecast is something we need to sit work on.
Okay.
However, I also need to, away from your accounting record,
Yes.
I also need to work on my marketing analytics before I can give a focus on what the cost for marketing, because the cost you are giving there includes the cost for the organization as a whole. So the manager is a better place to talk about the cost of running the entire organization as a whole. But I'm very much interested in the cost of running my marketing campaign so as to
Okay.
translate to the sales as regarding the cost which I incurred for that aspect. So most of the time, like I said, we also have our own statistics which we do in terms of marketing analytics. And there are just so many cost analysis which we carry out before we can say the marketing campaign was a success or a failure. But the cost which we are looking at there pertains to the entire organization. So I think maybe behind we'll have to sit down again, work on it, then give you a concrete answer.
Okay, Mr. Lone, thank you so much for that feedback. I want to highlight a particular figure here. I don't know if you're paying attention. I will highlight it with the color yellow. You have seen
Yeah,
that figure? That is an
yeah.
average cost per month for general
Okay,
expenses.
okay,
Now, we have increased that average cost to be 2.8 million. That means there's
okay,
an extra 1 million added to that value. That
okay,
extra 1 million could be for you only. Marketing is general administration for the manager, rent, those same salaries is fixed because all that money contain all those things. This additional
okay,
one maybe is for the marketing. But
okay,
direct cost is different. Direct cost is what we are doing on the job. Client is paying for it, they will get the profit. So
okay,
general and administrative costs, mostly it will go for the development, for the marketing and all. So this additional of
okay,
1 million, because we did not just put it at 15%, we increased to
okay,
102%. So 1 million
okay,
that could be for you to run whatever campaign to generate us the money. While the marketer is maintaining that cost for the this fixed general cost in the company.
okay,
Because I
okay,
think if people are drinking 2 cup tea, they will drink 2 cup tea. They will not drink they will not do than say me chop for me belle boss. No, they will do the same consumption. They will not eat 2 times because So this one is almost an average cost I will incur for the salary, rent, bills, tax, and all. So the addition of the 1 million, because we are making it to grow by probably 1 million, 2 million. So the cost also is growing. So next month, if we were expecting more revenue from you, certainly the cost now for your campaign might be 2 million. It might be 4 million. So it's not just about you giving us that revenue.
Yeah, I get it
So
now.
that's why the percentage growth was not just 15, but it was 32, 100 and something percent more. But yeah, see, this was
So
for, yeah, this was 40, 45. We increased it just by maybe 10 to 62. We did not increase it as much as we increased the cost. So the cost will
so
be
can
growing
we
at, yeah.
so can we move from 62? Can we
50.
increase from 62%
Now, if
to
you want to,
90?
if you
Reduce.
want to increase it to 90, I don't think you will kill yourself now. And I will
Manager,
reduce it.
Okay,
Not
the second situation rather is it's like going down. Should in case you
good,
cannot hit 62%, so we
okay,
can go
okay,
for
okay.
50%.
good.
So can take it to 70%.
Okay.
50, you are increasing.
Manager,
50.
manager, manager, you
50.
and the marketer, you must work hand in glove. Because
Manager,
whatever
go for
analysis,
50. Don't go 60.
whatever analysis, I don't know. Whatever
I want
analysis
to
will be
understand
given here.
something.
Say please.
I want to
50.
understand something, please.
Understand? Tell me.
This 62% revenue,
It's the
Yes.
best case scenario.
the best case scenario.
Yes. So
Yes.
what if you
Yes.
don't meet your best? What's going to be a second alternative, which is
Good.
below that
Yeah.
62%, which will still put
Okay,
you on a positive footing?
okay, I think we can go with 50.
Okay, let's go with 50. I'm writing there 50.
That's the
That is
best.
50. So let me highlight everything so that we see how it will be changing when we'll be breaking even and all. Let's go to 50%. That's 50% for revenue. Then if you're going for 50, that means you're making your revenue to be less. We are direct costs remain the same or you reduce. Manager, you tell us.
Stays the same.
Reduce.
Stays the same.
Yeah, you understand that business market. Stays the same.
Mr. Manager, sir.
Yes, I'm getting you. I'm taking
With the
sense.
direct costs remain the
Then
same,
check
growing at
6.
Stay the
60.
same.
Okay, if you leave it at the same rate, 15%, okay. And then, Mr. Marketer, the 1 point something million that we have added for your campaign, will you need more than that or you will remain the same 1 million? 1 point something million.
Oh,
And then also, before I allow us to be saying things, suppose we give you 1 point something million, this 50% revenue you must generate for us. Next month, if we, because this is business, we don't mind taking money from World Bank and give it to you. As long as you can generate the revenue, investing is not a problem. Now, the
yeah,
problem now is when they give you now the amount and then you don't provide the outcome. This is
yeah,
where the problem is. We don't
yeah.
have problem giving you whatever amount you want to get and then you generate whatever you have promised. On our part, we can give you the money, but will you generate that outcome? This is the thing. So this analysis is very most important, especially in situation like this, so that when we make up our mind, we are not laughing in the office. See, the other staff can be laughing. General manager, marketer, there is no joking about this thing. That's why I don't want to smile with anybody. So whatever people are telling me here is very important moving forward.
Uh,
So,
yes,
marketer, over to you.
there's another thing which I also want to point out. You know, the campaigns are different based on the objectives of the campaign.
Okay.
For an awareness campaign, you cannot be thinking of generating revenue. That
Okay.
goes as a cost which you have incurred for an
Okay.
awareness campaign. You can even spend 10 million to create the awareness, and the next time you're spending 10 million for a lead generation campaign and a convention
Okay.
campaign. So it
Okay.
depends on the campaign which we are launching at that particular point in time. It's not every campaign that will generate revenue. There's some campaigns which are just there to create the awareness before campaigns which are there generate the sales. So that's why I said most of the times it would depend on the campaign we are launching at that particular point in time.
Now,
At
Once
the
a
what
new
are the,
beginning stage.
once a new product is launched, which people are still to go to know about, it, you don't start thinking of generating sales from the launch of that product because people need to take time to make the decisions. Mindsets needs to be adjusted. change is a gradual process. So always, at the initial stage where you're creating awareness, revenue is never a part of that objective until when you believe that the awareness has been created, you now go for a campaign which intends to generate, translate to sales now. So those are two different marketing campaigns. So also have to take that into consideration when we are launching a campaign.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, the marketer. But now you want to agree with me. You want to agree with me that we're not launching any new product here. Based on this data, we are using but our old product that we have been in business. And we have been in
This
business for
one is for
6.
the what for the products we are running currently running. But
Good,
if
good,
this
good.
is a new product,
So
however,
now
with
in
the
a new
campaign
product, that's
objectives,
a
the
new
intention is to
focus.
generate the sales, create the awareness, and generate a minimum sale. But
Yeah.
again, yeah, so
Yeah.
that's why I said to be
Okay.
specific on the revenue and the sale trust. The most of the time they don't go hand in hand depending on the campaign objective at that particular point in time.
Okay. Thank you for
If I
bringing this. Okay. Let me tell us something. When we are running a company on a normal basis, we are running based on the existing product. Now, this analysis is based on our existing product that everybody knows about it. We
Yeah.
have given us enough time in February, March, April, May, June, and July for us to do the whatever campaign. So we are making this analysis based on this existing product. If Simple Pay is coming, that's another new project that we can do another forecast. You can say, oh, based on this, and we can give Simple another time to break even or to do other forecasts. We cannot include Zimpo in this our analysis. We are working based on our current product. Suppose Zimpo add to analysis, yes, cost will come in, but revenue also will come in. So either way is a win-win. But for the Zimpo, is something that, as a CEO likely said, we are already generating some money. But however, we are not focusing on Zimpo. We are focusing on this existing product that we have already been launched. We have launched
Yes,
already in the market. So let's
I
work
think
on
we are
it.
still saying the same thing because even with the old product, that time the market scenarios will change, and you need to
Mhm.
relaunch that product through an awareness campaign again without
Okay.
generating sales. So that's what I'm saying. Even the old product themselves, that time you need to relaunch the old product without generating sales.
yeah, so can I say something? I think
Or
that
you need to
over
reinforce our
can I
yes,
say something? I think that over the months we have been running campaigns for both awareness and also for lead
for sales.
generation. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the value that we currently have as far as the cost is concerned, it takes into consideration both awareness and also lead generation. So if we go by that, it means that both awareness and lead generation is inside the cost which we already have, which we'll be having over the month. So what will only make the difference is how you will use the money after we give it to you. Whether you want to put maybe 20% of the money for awareness and 80% for lead generation, that will be your that will you will be the one to decide that. But at the moment, the cost for awareness and also for lead generation is inside the cost which the um, the cost which the CFO is talking about. So it's just for us now to make that decision. And it's not if let's uh, say you must do it now kind of stuff. If you think that maybe you need maybe another you need time to like really look far again and make some certain decisions before you actually get back to him on that. That means that we'll be going back to the values again to maybe make some certain changes again to the values that we already have. That means that um but if we want to go with this, because I think at this point in time we are talking about the indirect cost, which is kind of like a 32%. Um, so do we go with the 32% or we increase or we decrease the 32%?
We go with the 32%.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. CEO. That is a brief explanation, and it have really hit the nail on the head. Mr. Marketer, I'm so happy with you. But however, as you know, with accounting, we deal with the figures based on past record, based on history value, historical value. These are the analysis. The first case scenario is correct, tested and trusted. However, scenario analysis, worst case scenario, things can happen, landslide and all. So for this reason, now we are giving these other cases. Now you have said, okay, let's not put it 62%. And we know for sure that we had a more prosperous growth rate for revenue, but rather we reduce it. And then expenses was 0 point something percent, but we increase it. And then indirect expenses, so 15, but we increase it 102%. So we're still maintaining the same expenses to generate a lesser revenue, probably 50% growth rate. So we go with the 32%. Now we want to know when we'll break even as a company. Now going at 32%, bringing everything remain equal, then changing just a multiplication factor, that is from 62 to 150. That's multiplication factor. We will get that changes. So now if you look when now the company will break even. Now if you move forward to the month of March, or is a month of, that's March or May, yes, in the month of May. Okay, in the month of March, if you move forward in the month of March, which before we already, this March, not May, we move forward in the month of March. This is March. If you move forward in the month of March, which we made a profit of this 15,812,000. This is it here. Profit of 15,812,000. You see that in the month of March, due to that changes, the scenario analysis, that revenue will grow by 50%. We'll be making a loss of 39 million. And then you go again to the month of April, making a loss also. You go May, making loss also. You go to June, making loss. And then we can only break even in the month of August. Same August. That means going by that growth rate, you can only make profit in the month of August. That means between July and August, we'll break even. And then we'll make a profit of 77 million. So if you say that is okay by you, and then we can work by it, the board of directors are very okay to work by it. And then if they work by it, they'll make sure they provide you the amount of money. I don't know, maybe someone needs to be muted, or maybe it's my phone. I don't know. Okay, someone needs to be muted. The CEO. Okay. Okay. See, going by this growth rate, that means revenue will grow by 50% only, and then direct costs 15%, indirect costs 32%. That means we'll break even in the month of August 2025. Now we'll break even in the month of August 2025. And then the value that will generate that month as profit will be, oh, that's not even August, that's July. We'll break even in the month of July. We're making a profit of 21 million. 21,184,000. That's 2025, 20. So if this is correct based on your analysis, Mr. Marketer and the GM, then the board of directors will be very happy to go to the World Bank, take money and give it to you, knowing fully well that moving forward from the month of August, no, July, because we certainly have the month of July 2025, you will generate such amount of profit. If that is okay, then you have to tell us yes. Otherwise, you have to reconsider your decision. Because it's very helpful that as a business person, you know what the future lies ahead of you. As a business person, you know what the future lies ahead of you. So this one will no more be profit as compared to the first case scenario, but rather it will be loss due to the percentage growth in sales and then percentage growth in expenses. So I just say, let me show it to you. Then at the end of the year 2025, we'll be hitting 1 billion of profit. That means we'll be making 2025, we'll make 1 billion profit. 1 billion profit is a big plus for people like us. And I tell you, it's possible if you people make up your mind. It's very possible because the board of directors are very, very much willing and ready to go an extra mile to support this company, because we know what this service can do to the market of Africa and the world at large. Companies are hitting these figures. Now it depends on your capabilities. That will give you the million, because see, these are the changes of what will be giving you to generate that revenue. So I want you to just see, these are the changes. So from this month to that month, that will not just say generate money for us. These are the changes. I'm talking only percentage change. That means we'll put down 2 million. And then that's operational expenses for indirect. The next one will give you 3 million. The next one will give you how much? The next one will give you 4 million. That means your expenses were adding the money. I don't know what you'll be spending it for. If you have to travel to Ghana, travel to whatever to make sure that the sales happen, you have to do it. But that if we invest this one, will you be able to actualize what you have just said? That we can break even in the month of July, hitting 21 million? Then that is the question. And then also direct costs will be increasing also. And before you know, direct costs will be going to 1 million, 2 million, 10 million and all. But will you generate that revenue? This is how we do the business. This is how business or company operates. So
Yeah, that's why initially I said when you know the budget you work with, you can also now give yourself a tax on what
okay.
to generate. Yeah, but you already put it on the platform, you know that this is what is in front of me and this is what I have to put on the table. So that's the challenge.
Yes. So what you are saying is that suppose we provide for GM and the marketer, suppose we provide for the month of August 2.8 million. Will you people generate us 3 million revenue? Now, if we inject 2.8 million as cost in the month of August, this August how we are, will you people generate 3 million revenue? Now, the reason why we're still having loss is because of the loss of the old month. So it's okay. Over time, we will set up. Will you
Yeah.
generate that much? That is the question.
Yes.
Now, it's not just a matter of yes, because it's possible for us to give you that money. Now, suppose we don't generate that revenue.
So again, that's what I was trying to say. When
Okay.
you're getting into the money, you know this is your target. You strategize alongside that target. Not when you're already in the money and you already struggle to scale down on targets and you're not saying this is put in front of you. So it now becomes a different ball game scenario because you've already draft up the plan without considering that much. So you cannot guarantee the success of that amount. But if you're already aware that this is what we are willing to put in front of you, from there you can now plan as to how to generate what is required from that amount.
And
But
business is risks. It's taking risks.
see, the
You have
risk
already
is
said it that if there's landslide and everything. So if you
yeah,
are taking decision, you are taking decision based on understanding that there's a risk factor.
yeah. You know,
But
the truth is, as an accountant, I am not acting because I'm for the board of directors or for you people. I'm acting based on the values that we have on ground. So when we are saying that based on the month that we are, we cannot really say. Now, for me, I've been working on my record and which I've presented to you from the month of November right up to date. Based on this analysis, that's my first case scenario. Everything being equal. So if everything being equal means if you operate at this normal rate, that is how much we will generate. Yani if we were operating at that normal rate without even doing this analysis, that is how much we have to generate. That means percentage growth of revenue will be growing like that, then cost will be reducing. But now we are doing a forecast, so we are instead increasing the cost. So suppose if we run like this in this normal way like that, that's how much we even get more. But because of forecast now, and then we need that commitment, we need that sincerity. That means if we are saying that GM marketer, you are the backbone of the company, this is how much you have for your campaign. Run it as you want, but this is what we want. Today, this is
So
how
that's
big
what I'm
companies.
saying.
Yes. So
We operating on a normal rate, that's what we're generating because we've conditioned the team to operate on that normal rate. So there's
okay.
that possibility that if you put that money at the disposal, it might be misused because it was never factored into the current plan. Then when you already know that that money we put at your disposal, you draft it up into a plan to see how to translate it into a result. Because
Yeah.
misappropriation usually comes in when what you never planned for was not presented to you and you feel like you can still go and do things as usual. So it's always good you know and you draft. Everything is all about planning. If you never
Okay.
plan for it, you say give it where it was not planned for. It might be
Okay.
misappropriated.
Okay. Now this is a scenario analysis. I want people to bear with me. That's why I told you people. You people are very important in this analysis. Okay. Based on what you're saying, let's say okay, the month of August cancel. Moving forward, the month of September, how much percentage growth do you think we can grow the expenses for you to generate a particular amount of revenue so that we on the side as a board of director will be preparing. knowing fully whether when that money will be at your disposal, you will generate that much.
We have entered 50% now. Can we
Okay.
add the other? Can we move forward?
Okay. So you are the one making this decision, okay? So based on your understanding of the market and all. So if we work by 50% growth, percentage of direct costs increase 15%, percentage of indirect costs increase by 32%, then we can only break even in July, making a profit of 21 million. And then moving forward to the next year ending 2025 December, that is 1 billion we'll be making. Knowing fully whether your expenses will be increased, will be give you more money, more allowances, more trips, more wherever travel, ticket for wherever you want to go to. But will you guarantee us that revenue? So moving forward to the next case scenario. So Mr. GM, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, we can put there 53%.
53%, okay. And then percentage of direct costs?
Stay the same.
The same 15%, okay. Percentage of indirect costs?
Drop to 30.
Drop to 30. Now, we are saying this thing without even introducing Zimpo because we know Zimpo will be a killer. This is our main thing. And Zimpo will always be a plus because there's not too much material invested in Zimpo. The material is a soft knowledge.
Yeah.
And the soft knowledge is that the salary of those engineers are already fixed. But now this addition of the external, how they call this one, indirect cost addition is for the marketer, the GM, to have the access to go to places to generate that revenue. Any additional cost doesn't mean the salary will increase or rent will increase or expenses. You can use it to go to Yaoundé, go to Kongsaba, Douala, anywhere you want to go and generate this revenue.
Yeah, and one thing which we also need to notice, there comes a point in time when even the marketing expense drops when the product sells itself.
Yeah.
So most of the time, what you are doing is no longer like that much. You only use a product to sell other products. So for that particular product, for example, space, let's say if you have launched, for now it's Tecnovice. Once Tecnovice is known, we stop marketing Tecnovice. So the cost of marketing Tecnovice is definitely going to drop.
You're
now,
correct.
The cost of marketing the subsidiary products under Tecnovice, the new brands, that's where now we can incur an additional cost. But that's not to say the cost will keep on increasing for marketing.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
So most of the times, the marketing cost also, based on where the company has stationed itself, there are points it can be fixed for a while, and there are periods whereby once it is there, it can be dropped. Except now, once they hit the reinforcement, it skyrockets to promise the people that we are still there and still doing what we are doing. So it's always like that.
Please, I would like us to move fast, please.
Okay, thank you so much. So now, seeing that the indirect cost will drop by 30%, now we'll reduce that amount 30%. So we'll reduce a amount to, instead of 32, 30. That have dropped to 30. Okay, 15% remain fixed, and then the cost will increase by 3, no more 50. So that has been done. I've already done the changes. So when is Tecnovice going to break even? Because Tecnovice will be incurring loss, When will Tecnovice break even? Now, if you go slowly, you start Tecnovice will break even in the month of April. Now, this is something that the GM and the marketer you will guarantee with us because this is an extra money that we are putting in to make sure that we break even in the month of April. Now, we are breaking even and as in making a profit of just 126,000.
Mm-hmm.
So everything now from that time right up to now will be now profit. We'll be making profit from there moving forward. But once a company break even, that is all. The company have already kickstart. The company can say, okay, we can start paying workers the way they want, all those kind of things. However, this one will be mostly for the GM and the marketer, in the sense that you people are the one to drive this company vision. People are the figurehead. So in the month of April 2025, April 2025, the company will make a profit based on this analysis of 126,081. So that is our third case scenario. So if we are okay with this Then these are some of the analysis that we are seeing in the future. But I believe it will be more earlier than this because we are still to launch our Dimple. And no matter how much Dimple want to spend as cost, we'll not spend up to 3 million, we'll not spend up to 1 million, and we know this. And the market that you people can testify to this. But now for the case of what forecasting, then we are putting all those values there. That we are putting it there doesn't mean we spend it. However, that we spend, we have to report it for what purpose we spend it for. However, so for the worst case scenario, please, for the worst case scenario, that means at least even if you want to bat as how, we must hit either of these targets. We must hit either of these targets. So what can we say for it? Let's give one more case scenario and then we move forward so that the board of directors will know when company will break even, how much we still need to lay down our money, hard earned blood and sweat. I know you are doing your best, the GM and the marketer, to certainly start getting those your Lamborghinis that you have been dreaming of. So worst case scenario, please. Marketer, are you there? Marketer, GM, please, you people have to say something.
Yes, see the worst case.
Worst case scenario, that means because what I'm trying to present to us is 4 cases scenario that we must hit in of these cases. If it's good, good, we hit it at the first case scenario. Second, good, hit it at the fourth case scenario. Third, good, hit it at the third case scenario. Last case, worst case scenario, how can we hit it? Now we should know that Tecnovice at this point, we can go at that level, everything being equal. But we
Worst
know
case
this is
scenario.
yes. Yani that means if you want to bat as how, you must hit that target.
Let's say 25% revenue.
No, no.
It's
Let's
not possible.
let's
Let's go to Asia level.
let's have a look at, let's say, because when I look at the 15% and 32%, that's
Yeah,
already getting to about, let's say, 47.
you're right.
So maybe we could find something that is close to 47 and say, okay, the worst case scenario is around a kind of 48, something like that.
You're right. You're right. You're very correct, the CEO. However, my concern, I want to see through more light. The reason why we are increasing the expenses, as the marketer rightly said, we must not necessarily spend this money. Because if you spend, say, 1 million for transportation for this month with your vehicle, your fuel, and all, you spend the same money for next month.
Yes.
The vehicle will not eat more than petrol, same petrol, like I mean, full tank, same. Now, the only case is that we have now economic of scales. So, but as the CEO have said, okay, no problem, we work with the worst case now so that Tecnovice stakeholders, Tecnovice board of directors will know that suppose we sacrifice like this time we'll break even. But I believe we'll break it sooner or later. Sooner or later, but nevertheless, worst case scenario, what amount can we put there? How much can we put GM marketer? How much?
For the worst case scenario,
Yes.
put 35% revenue.
Now, okay. When you're putting 35%, you know that you have to drop your cost also.
I know.
Okay. 35%. I'm very happy with that. 35%. Okay. Okay. And then the direct
10%.
cost.
10%.
10%. Okay. Okay. Indirect cost.
15.
15%. PM, are you the one saying like that?
Yes.
Okay, good. So now I will just go and do the multiplication factor to see what will happen. Either ways, I think we'll still hit the jackpot because as long as the cost is reducing, everything will still be. That's a call it ceteris paribus. Okay, now we have an increase of. Oh, I forget. We have an increase of 35%. So 35% will show 135. 135. So revenue will grow at that rate. You see, revenue have dropped. Okay. Now, if you look at it here, in the month of April, there is a loss of 62 million. Now, because we have not dropped down the costs also, so we have to drop the cost. Instead of 15, we'll put it at 10%, as you have rightly said. Thank you so much. Okay, we are still having a loss. And then we talk of the
10%.
the 30,
Okay,
okay,
for
so I've
this
already
110.
now. Sorry, yes, 110 because it is growing. It is growing. That means from previous year it's growing, like it's increasing. Yeah,
Okay.
that's a multiplication factor. So instead of 130, we'll put 115 because of the 15% increase. So, like for example, if you are already 1 meter, you grow by 1 inch, you 1 meter, 1 inch. You not just, yeah, you grow by like that only, yeah. So you know you're growing. So not 130, it will be 115. So we're doing at the worst case scenario. So the worst come to the worst. This is what the novice will be looking like. Now, let's see whether Tecnovice will break even at the end of 2025 or not. I think Tecnovice will break even in the month of June only. You see, Tecnovice will break even in the month of June, everything being equal. So this kind of scenario is a case where we will have to present to the board of directors. But I believe we can do better. So if the worst comes to the worst that we perform like we don't know what we are doing, then we'll break even in the month of May 2025 with a profit of 4 million. So that we are making a profit of 4,478,405. 405. So
4 million,
so far,
4 million, you put two.
oh, sorry. Thank you so much. A million
Oh,
they mess up with that. 4,478,405. That is a worst case scenario. So far, I think I've already presented to us the cases that the marketer and the GM they are looking at. So it is at their own discretion to sit to have their own meeting whenever we are not there to discuss the way moving forward. And I want to share this particular one with everybody that have stayed right up till now to see if this is what we'll be working on moving forward. If people are ready to make sure that the revenue is growing at that rate, you know that this is what the novice will be having. Costs will be going at that rate, you know that this is what the novice will be having. So please, I think I've done with my presentation. You can ask your question and all. Thank you so much. So I will share this with everybody, or probably I will share it on the group.
okay. Thank you so much, CFO, for that, like, uh, for that presentation. I think for some of us, we've been schooled through the process, and we kind of like uh, understand the number very much. And I think that even moving forward, we'll be doing things with more strategy in place to be and work by the numbers so that we actually get there sooner. At least we're beginning to feel the pressure that is on us. And I think that maybe moving forward from now, things will be done differently. And the way that we will see things also will be different. And maybe we'll be looking at every month with a different eye. So um, I really do appreciate all the work that you're doing, and I'm forever grateful that we cross paths. Yeah, because this is really, really helpful. Okay, so I don't know, maybe at the moment, if there's anyone who probably have a question before maybe we move further to the next thing to discuss and before we conclude. Any questions so far? Hello? Know that you're muted if you're trying to say something. Assume the silence to be no question. So, um, GM, with respect to our agenda, I think maybe after this, it should be. I think we've already had topic like open the floor for everyone to ask question, as this has been more interactive, and I think maybe at this point in time, you probably be expecting maybe a closing remark for me, right?
No, one more thing, sir.
Okay.
It's not actually a question on finance concerning uh, the company policy of some people that they say they have to after 6 months they have to step on their money.
No, we didn't say step up, we say revise.
Revise something
Yes.
that revise. Let me use the word revise. Are we taking that in consideration with respect to expenditure?
But I
I
believe
think
their
I think
output too matter too that too, because we'll be looking strictly on their output as well also. And yes, on that light too.
And that's why I'm
because
throwing it back to the board.
yeah, because I think that at the moment, um, for most of the staffs that we have, we've been able to pay them above minimum wage.
Which yeah.
Yes. So moving forward, I think we go for some time. Maybe if we look at the worst case scenario, before May next year, most of the people who are working with us would have already been clocking 1 year. And since they are already working above minimum wage at the moment, hopefully they will be getting maybe an increase um, after this period, like maybe just around the time when we are getting or when we are breaking even. So um, we for any new staff that probably will be joining us, we will propose salary and not we will propose salary and um, in as much as we say after 6 months we can revise, they would look at their performance and see if there's need for revise for revision or not. Yeah. If not, then probably we might decide to like say like give some more time before we can actually make that upgrade. But I think that for most of our salaries above minimum wage, it's something that someone can hold on to maybe for even a year.
Because there's something that if we are to considering our because the Chuanga Roland asked the question which when concerning the worker that was sacked. And if we are looking about cost and looking at the engineers that we have, are they doing their job for us to still be keeping that amount of money that we are paying them?
Yeah, just as I'm saying, when you look at the engineers, like for example, you have the power to make most of the decisions, and that is one of the reasons why we have um, we have Mr. Blanco who will be with you, and within this period, he will be doing much assessment on the productivity of the engineers, and if for any reason he thinks that maybe there's a particular engineer who is not productive, he would signal you, and that person will be replaced. Yes, because we want output, we want productivity. So if we find maybe an employee who is not productive, there's no need keeping the employee. We would rather prefer to work with people who are more productive than keeping people who are not. The thing is,
Okay.
with the number of engineers that we have, we think that they are enough, like almost enough to be able to do most of the things that we want or that we aspire to do. That is the reason we keep the number to approximately 3. You get it?
Yes.
Otherwise, if we reduce the number to 2, we are going to have much work that we won't be able to do. But we can try to see how we can maybe reduce it to something like about 2. We can manage that until we get to a point where we get where we need more on the team.
And
But
if Mr. Blanco is coming in, Mr. Blanco is already certain that he's going to be with us consistently.
because he is playing the role of a project manager and also a senior engineer, which means that he'll be doing um, more of direction,
assessment.
like directing. Yes, rather than spending more time on the coding. He will code, but he will do more of directing and doing assessment and all those kind of stuff. So, which means that we still need the engineers to be able to get the job done. You get it? Yeah.
Okay.
And the only good thing is that he is working for free. Okay. That said,
Okay.
Good news.
yeah,
Good news. Good news.
yeah, Mr. Blanco has something to
Concerning
say.
the marketing department also. Apart from Mr. Lunia, we have just I don't think there's anybody. Maybe the one that is
This
due
new
to
lady,
come. The
Bridget.
new lady, Bridget. Are we seeing that number to me is not going to be enough at the level of the marketing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think that would be enough. I think that would be enough.
Okay, if
Yeah.
you
You
say
think
And
so.
so?
besides, if
If
he
you are saying so,
If you say
I don't have a
if
problem.
you
Oh,
say
when
so,
you're
that's good
working straight.
news.
yeah, and besides
Hello,
that,
please, I have a question.
yeah, sorry, Blanco, but besides that, if they become a need for another person, Mr. Lunel will communicate that to us.
Because I'm
Yeah,
looking at the project that we have around, like we said, and we know that
We-
even sometimes that we have outing, most of the times engineers are working. We cannot take them for outing
yeah,
because they have work. They're the one doing the coding and maybe working behind the scenes. And maybe I look at the workload that might fall on Mr. Lone. I'm already foreseeing because work is coming.
yeah.
If
So
we are talking about the dimples and the things that we're having, we need more a kind of a workforce to like really go out to endeavor these things to spread. Most of our internship students are already going because school will soon commence. So I'm envisaging all of those angles. But if you say it's fine, there's no problem. Let's ride on. Over to you.
yeah,
The CEO.
I think that even as we go, like we start bringing the new product to the market, then the need arise. We can always add.
Okay,
So
sir.
yeah, so we'll just do it as per needs arise, rather than bringing in and be paying them while they are waiting. Let's bring them
That's true.
in when we need them.
That's true.
Yeah. So, Mr. Blanco, you had a question.
He's typing seriously.
Oh, yes, yes. I don't know. Uh, maybe it was answered, but the I mean, the booking in the explanation of Mr. Wesley was was at a higher level. So I want to ask that, given that we are paying some engineers just part of their salaries, so over maybe 1 year, it would have accrued.
Hmm.
So when they are calculating that direct cost, so we're talking about fix. So I want to know if during the analysis that accrued salary was taken into consideration.
Yes, it was taken into consideration. That is why we are having a million plus, because mostly
Yeah.
we have 1,700,000 based on what I was sharing. We have 1,700,000. So the 1.2 million was for the salaries, and then the
Okay.
700,000 was for the other rents, other expenses. So now the 700,000 now
Okay.
will increase maybe to 1 million more based on whatever generation of income that we want to be generating. Now we can cater for the other things based on our forecast. Now this is based on the forecast. But for
Okay. Okay.
the
Okay.
I
Thank you
wish
very much.
to say something. The CIO make a statement that very profound that they can give us money for marketing, provided we are going to multiply it and bring result. I'm having a second thought. How are we accumulating the amount of money? Can we not agree on a fixed amount that we give the engineer for the sake of the company also? And waiting when things are ripe, then we now add it.
I think
Oh,
I think so far that is still within your power to do it. Yeah, remember
Okay.
you are the one managing them, and you can you can come up with strategy that you can talk with them. But for the ones that are already with us, probably going back to revise the contract will be difficult. Maybe to get them to agree to that. But if you can manage that, that will be very, very helpful. We are looking at ways through which we could reduce our cost. So if there is a way that you can do that, we will appreciate it. Maybe how you want to like maybe handle that. If you can find, and if maybe at some point in time we are replacing them, you could come up with better contract with them.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, for the new ones. Yeah, because as I said, there is a probability that we could pay them less, maybe around 100 or 120K.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. So I don't know, any question, any more question so far? If not, then I want to just put before us that we we have something before us like the manager. Please, you help me share with me the documents which we received from both Joe Cargo and Jaco.
Okay, let
These
me
are
send
all
it
the
now.
shipping companies for the things that we bought some months back, which has arrived and we have to clear them. So I think to clear the stuff is amounting close to about 700 and maybe 70,000, something close to about 800,000 for us to be able to clear that from the pool. And maybe an additional about 20 to 25,000 for carrying the stuff from Douala to Boya. And when it reach Boya, we will need to install the solar panel, which will come also with an extra cost for installation. So we're looking at something at close to about 1 million franc to be able to get that sorted. Along that, we are almost in mid-month, and we'll still have also a tax to pay salaries at the end of the month. So these are some of the things that probably we'll be looking forward to within the month to be able to solve them. So we have the one which is kind of like urgent, which is the things that we need to clear from the poll. And I have also mentioned that for us to also reduce the burden on the board, we have projects that if we can complete them this month, we can generate the salaries for the month. So if we can put more effort in trying to ensure that that project is completed, we will be able to fight to get the money so that we can pay salaries, especially the excellent kit project. The clients will be paying about 4,000 dirhams. That will give us close to about 700,000. That's added to the other clients that probably we have fully worked on their project. If they add, add up to that, that will get us close to maybe, let's say, close to 1 million franc, which that is good. So we need to put more pressure on the team that is developing checking them on daily basis to make sure that the tasks that they are working on, there's much they are making progress. And we have also our own project. And one thing I also want us to really like look into is also the carnival project. We have been working on this project and we need to deliver it. We need to also give the costing for that so that we decide, so that we conclude with him how much he will be paying us for that job. So let's let's try to come up with something on that project so that we can have a conversation with the CEO of Carnival and let's know how much we are expected from him so that he can start making payments as far as that is concerned, so that we can also complete the job because he's already requesting to see some of the changes that he requested for, and some of those there are also expenses that come alongside with the completion of that project. So um, I want us to spend like the expenses that has to go with it shouldn't come from our pocket to work for a project that the person has not paid anything. So let's do what we can do. Let's try to come up with a cost for the project and then request him to make his initial payments so that from that money we can use it to do like to cover up the expenses that we have to undergo as far as that project is concerned. So that is something that I'm putting in the hands of the team, the GM, the marketer, alongside with the accounts for us to come up with the engineers also. So we can come up with something, a plan, and then we can share it with him so that as he's putting pressure on us, we are also putting pressure also on him to release the money. Yeah, because I think that we have done too much without anything. So he needs to release something so that we can move, we can work. Because if we know that what he has to pay is enough to pay our salary, why should we not pay more attention in completing the task? So
The first meeting,
Okay.
yeah, where you contributed greatly to it. So I'm very regretting because what I've learned today, man, I can't quantify it.
Wow. I'm
So
happy.
whenever you'll be part of any meeting, I'll make sure that I'm always there because
You, you know what makes me happy is because I have the marketer, I have the GM, I have your good self there. I'm happy also that the CEO came there. I know he'll be back shortly, back to us. However, I'm just so glad. And the reason why I raised my hand before the last session ends is to beg us, particularly the marketer and the GM, please, if we break even, we don't hammer. Nobody never start for the well. If we break that, I'm just begging us to break even. Let's just break even. You are
I
seeing
beg,
billion
don't be
is
ready
real,
to
oh.
sell my suit.
Huh?
I need suit. I need suit.
Let's break even. You put, I don't know whether you see what I'm seeing. We are giving, even though the forecast is just nonsense forecast, but at least for the sake of forecast, when real forecast is concerned, if we can break even, people will talk salary. What is salary? People will confuse. You don't even know. Maybe you need a 3 car to drive, but let's break even. Let's make it work.
Una
That's
That's
the
what
yeah,
I
way you're
want us to
talking,
do.
eh?
Let's just
una
close our
yeah,
eyes and make it work.
una yeah.
You be driving a 3 car. See, you like let my wife sit in the first car. My children, you be doing like Jacob. You
I
separate them.
say,
You just separate them. You will not drive a family car. No, it doesn't work that way. Convoy is possible. Why
this
I'm
is the
saying so
way,
because
this thing they see on the smile.
no, why I'm saying so is because the service we are providing is a service that the whole world need. The whole world need this service. There's something that they call here e-money. In fact, it's in Nigeria also. And Dimpo is something like that. And if you know how this business, the e-money business is booming, it's nearly in all ATM machines. And once we just hit this one is jackpot. Oh. So that let's just break even. Marketer, GM, please. Mr. Blanco, you're there. I don't know how you would do it. Let's just break even. If we just break
Yes.
even like this, billions everywhere. Problem. Money, stop nonsense. Please,
I'm telling
please.
you.
Actually, this is just a forecast based on our past performance. And I know tomorrow is better. So if we are using this worst case scenario for past performance and then we are really making a very wonderful forecast like that, then I think it will be wonderful. So for those who want to come, they come. Those who want to leave, they leave. But we know where we are going to. That's why when we have a meeting like this, please let's. Mr. Lionel, where is him? You're doing
I'm
working.
here. I'm
Don't be
here. I'm here.
working. Don't be working, Mr. Lionel. Yeah. You and the GM, you supposed to do something. Please. Thank you so much. I know GM is already packing to go.
The man is staying with Ambers. So
All right. So
We need to go.
the man is staying with Amber in the
let
Amber
me take
crew.
this
I'm
opportunity
still
to
in the
thank
voices.
everyone, to thank all of you actually for your valuable contribution. We are going places. We've seen the numbers, and we've seen that the fact that the money fast is coming, it shows that more can come. Yes, and we just need to do the needful for us to be able to get more. Yeah, I have walked around. I've talked to so many people, and they are very, very, very much interested. They see the potentials that some of us have not seen. Yeah, like I spoke with someone. It's high time that we even start getting to the level of even our CCTV camera installation service start working with contractors who are still in the process of building houses so that we can pass all the necessary stuff in preparation for future integration of network and CCTV camera installation in buildings. So we have to get to that level, talking with contractors. And I think that from what I've seen from the people that I've talked to, they have actually made me understand that this is something that is very, very lucrative, that we can we can really do well if we do our marketing properly. So yes, we have Dimples in our hands. Hopefully, we'll get all the necessary approvals, fix the necessary bugs, do all the necessary testing, and then we get it live so everyone can start using it. And then everything is going to unfold before our eyes. And once you see the potential, you can step into any place to get the money. I also shared this idea of Dimples with one of my in-law who is managing a financial institution in Yaoundé, and he's so interested in it. he was like, wow, this is so beautiful. I think maybe next week he'll be driving from Yaoundé to come and see what we are doing here, from what he said. So these are these are people who have who at some point in time it was like, why didn't I get to him at the time of investment? He would have been part of us. So, but what I'm trying to say is there are many people who have seen, like there are people who are interested in the potential of the project that we are running. And what we just need to do is just to do the necessary work at this point in time, just to get it done. Once it is done, we are going to be open and the money is going to come. We are just making the sacrifice. Jack Ma once told one of his founding members to just, it's fine with him for a 2% shares of the company. That 2% shares of Alibaba that this lady made sacrifice for at that early phase, she's ripping off that 2% now. So we are in that planting phase. You can imagine what Alibaba is today, and someone has 2% of it. You get it? That is huge money. So let's just do the groundwork and put ourselves, maybe put the company to get to the point of breaking even. Then I can tell that we are going to touch lots and lots of money. So not to waste your time, I know that's already late, but for everyone on the board of directors who probably listen to this video or watch this video or listen to me, I will be sending yet a voice note for some of the things that we have which are kind of like pending. So we get the money, we try to see
When I
how
feel
we
going
can
on
come
now,
up with strategies
me I did my laptop. Come on, get use that
for
phone.
raising that money. And we really need it next week. Yeah, we really need it next week. So let's see what we can do to raise that money and hand it over to the GM so we can all bring our stuffs. We have had so much challenges with electricity,
Marketer.
which has kind of like reduced our productivity also. So for us to ensure that we continuously stay productive, we need that electricity to be on 24 on 7. Thank you and have a great day. I really do appreciate the work that you're doing for Tecnovice. And we are Tecnovice. Everyone in our team, we trust you that you
Every
will actually get us to where we are heading to. Tecnovice, trust every bite. Have a wonderful day.
thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you,
Lot of love.
boss.
Welcome.